Welcome to Venetian Poker Live. It is time for the final table of the 1K Seniors event here during an action-packed poker summer at the Venetian Poker Room located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops. And would you look at that? What a stunning poker room for you at home to enjoy whenever you make your next trip to Las Vegas. My name is Rem. Tommy La Rosa joining me in the booth for some analysis, some hot takes, and of course, some updates on what's been going on here at Venetian. Here we are inside the streaming room. This event, bigger than expected, which is always good to see. 1,061 players in this 1K Seniors event, a prize pool of $1 million. And there's a look at the payouts. The final 7 guaranteed, $22,800. And the pay jumps increase as we go today up to $144,000 for the eventual champion. And here's a look at the payouts and a name that you will all recognize if you've been around poker for a while. John the Razor Phan is our chip leader. This man needs no introduction. If your nickname is the Razor, I'm just going to have high expectations of your aggressive play.
Thank you.
John Phan has $6 million in career tournament earnings. His largest score, a WPT win back in 2008. More on the WPT in a few minutes, as Matt Savage will also join me in the booth here for a bit as we jump straight into hand number 1. Welcome everyone in the YouTube chat, whether you're watching on the Venetian channel or on Poker Go. Hope you're having a good time. It's been a packed summer full of action, and Venetian has been putting on quite the show here, both cash games and tournaments.
1,054 players.
Tommy, okay, I'm glad you had a moment to breathe, to come and sit down with me as we watch this final table. Great turnout for the seniors event. I think that this event, among many others, has been above expectation.
No, the whole summer's been great. The support we've received from the community with our new room and everyone checking us out, it's been tremendous, and this event is no different.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's funny.
John, you gotta spread your cards on the reader.
What's the reader right here?
Your chips are on the reader.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was playing no-look poker though.
No-look poker definitely up the alley of the Razor.
No-look poker, that's why. Okay, all right, to the good talk.
Final 7 players battling for that $1 million prize pool, as I mentioned at the top of the show.
I suppose you had your chip yesterday. It's okay. Today's another day. Today's a new day.
We'll give these gentlemen room to chat whenever there's table talk.
WPT, this right here. That's now the camera's right there. That's
as we look at the chip denominations, the purple's worth 25K, the pink's 100,000, and Tanimoto looking down at ace-queen suited on his first hand to get involved with. Arthur Tanimoto from Elk Grove, California. Is just going to move all in here. Dentist by trade, looking to perhaps pull some teeth here as
one hand, that's all it takes.
Mameche finds pocket queens. This could be trouble.
I'm on in 2.
Oh, there we go. All in as well.
Right, here we go. Okay, 1 for 2 bullet, right?
Shove here for 8.7 million. One of the big stacks. Oh, and John the Razor Phan finds pocket jacks. Look how fast he went quiet there.
Can we count, please?
Yeah.
We went from joking around to all of a sudden realizing the seriousness of the situation.
Don't matter. I don't have a good memories like you do. Today's a new day.
There's 8 million, 8.5.
The Razor
8.725.
with quite a spot here. This will be for the majority of his stack. You can see he's got 9.5 million himself.
I win this hand, the game is all over. Wow.
You got a few other people that would disagree with you, I think.
No, I'm the chip leader right now, but not by far, but I'm ahead.
Okay, let's play.
Wow.
What a spot for pocket jacks. Let me know in the chat. Would your jacks hit the muck? Tommy, would your jacks hit the muck?
8 point.
This is a tough spot. Yeah, I don't think I would have the guts to call, but that's why I'm not a tournament player, that's for sure.
Obviously, ICM a consideration here. Final 7 guaranteed 22K. We got a 7K pay jump and then a 10K pay jump.
Say what?
It's a lot easier sitting on this side, seeing the cards. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Tanimoto has nothing to worry about. He's all in. Same for Mameche with pocket queens. Now, Mameche, of course, given the fact that the Razor has been tanking for a while here, has to know that at worst, he is up against ace-king here. At worst. Aces and kings would have already been in there. We can safely establish that.
It's okay, John. All of YouTube is watching you.
Don't matter.
Boy, he's putting your show.
I play it like this not we're not even on TV.
This is good drama for them.
I play it like we're not even on TV. I care less.
Your TV time, man.
I just gotta play my game.
We would expect nothing less.
You gotta see this hand no matter what. If I play or not on wow.
I'm honestly surprised that
Second hand, huh?
Phan has taken this much time here.
It's the game. Just the game, but fucking game.
Lots of downside,
Use the F word.
not much upside here.
80% of the player will play my hand.
Which percent are you in?
I'm on the 20% left.
Okay. That makes you a good player, maybe.
Usually I will play, but my guy here, we have history. Okay.
It's your decision.
I know, it's tough, really tough. Really tough
It's a
decision.
good card.
Man, I don't want to waste guy's time, I don't want to waste my time. I need like another 10 seconds. Wow.
Only 10?
10, that's all I need, 10. Maybe 20.
Phan probably thinking if I call him
Can I
in
call
this
the clock?
I can
tournament is
see-
over. And Ward,
Can I
who
call
already
the
looked
clock?
a little frustrated here,
It's okay, no, you don't need to, I'm done.
calls the clock.
Nice hand, I fold.
He does decide to let it go.
Save my 2 call inside, okay? For them
Oh,
to,
and look at this.
You could tell us, we'll believe you.
Rzentkowski
we're gonna see it anyway. You can just tell
with the
us.
suited ace-queen. So massive hands all around.
Just tell us, John.
So,
I play.
2 jacks.
Really?
That's why, turn 'em up, boys.
all right, flip 'em up, guys.
Ace king, put 2 queen there,
That's
see
the
that?
worst.
All right, so we
Wow,
have
you see that? Look at
It's the
it.
word.
queens versus
Look at the 2
ace-queen
cards.
with jacks and
Can I come
ace-queen
up
already
to
folding.
Good shot. If he had kings, you had better shot.
Folded ace queen.
Massive
Call
pot
it
here,
there.
4.8 million.
Sit down.
The Razor,
Man, I'm just
Yeah.
saying what I had. Matt, we're having fun, Matt. Come on. It's been a rough
the Razor wants to
summer.
show his jacks. Ward, among
Yeah,
those
rough
not
summer.
entertained, he wants to just get a move on here on the short stack. But
Wow, yeah.
we have a player
I
at
was-
risk here.
Oh, yeah.
Tanimoto looking for some help.
Don't give me no jacks, okay?
9-8-4
Put a
keeps
jack
this
out
clean
there.
for
Four
Mameche.
peeked out there, and I thought right off the bat.
Tanimoto looking
ace
for
queen?
the
See?
ace of spades or the ace
Man,
of
you got
diamonds.
4-4? Oh, man.
King of
I was
spades
like,
on the
wow,
turn.
He called, you
It's not going to
should,
change
yeah.
anything.
He shipped it if I call him right there.
Tanimoto 1 foot out the door. 2 outs to survive. And the river is the 10 of hearts. Arthur Tanimoto will be our
Take
7th
care.
place finisher.
Thanks, man.
Oh, sorry, I knocked over your.
No, you're good. You're good.
He'll collect $22,800 for his
But
earnings.
if I king, you're in trouble, you know that, right?
Hey,
Good play.
really good playing with you too, for sure.
You made my life harder with that aces
You're a good player.
yesterday.
You're a good
I
player.
just made $7,000.
Terrific
Yeah,
run
yeah.
from
Yeah.
Tanimoto.
No, you have no choice. You got ace queen.
Oh,
you gotta
yeah,
play.
yeah. Short
He
stack.
just wanted to shout out his girlfriend
Take care, man.
who supports him 100% in all his endeavors.
Just imagine he don't have a pocket queen. Me and him, he's going all in. I just call you and he push all in.
What do you have?
Pocket jack.
Oh, you did? Oh, so I was really in trouble.
And Jacks went in
Yeah,
the
there's no
muck.
more queen left. Wow.
Rzentkowski having an easy decision, folding ace-queen there in the big blinds. Tommy, we got some action here right away. Good to see.
Is that good lay down? Bad lay
Amazing
down?
second hand in the stream. That's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Walk us through the last 2 days. What was the sort of atmosphere like in the tournament?
He's
The
not
seniors
so green
events
there
have
yesterday.
been
I gave
getting
him extra
bigger
life.
every
That's why he's
year,
still here.
and it just seems pretty sort of inviting and casual.
Listen, this group of players is a pleasure to deal with, right? I've offered 4 senior events this year. We offered a 600 multi-day at the beginning of the summer. We offered an 1100 one day. We offered an 1600 multi-day, and now we're ending the summer with this 1100 multi-day. And the senior players, they support the events when we put them on. Love having them around. Obviously, easy to run. they're all here just to play cards and have a good time. And so, no, it's a pleasure to host these events.
Charles Ward, who goes by Chuck, is all in here for $2 million.
Yeah.
Queen 10 offsuit.
1-6.
Ward is our
$2 million.
short stack at the table. Picking up the blinds and antes would already be quite massive for him. So that shove getting through would be preferred, holding just Queen 10.
She scores.
And there we go. He picks up the pot without showdown.
Put on that side when you look at the cards.
All right.
Yeah.
Six-handed play here at the final table.
TV.
Tommy, the room buzz is starting to grow. I saw some familiar faces from my time reporting on tournaments outside of the Venetian Poker Room that are now here. Give the people an introduction as to what the coming week will look like.
So starting today, we're hosting our WPT $5,000 buy-in, $4 million guaranteed main event. So we haven't hosted a WPT event since 2022, and super excited to just be partnering with the WPT, expecting a full house for this. Obviously a $4 million guarantee. So if you're thinking you need a summer saver, or you've had a good summer and you just want to make it even better, now's the time. Come down today, tomorrow, or Sunday. We got 3 flights. Today's day 1A. Registration's open till 8:10 each starting day. So if you're a last-minute kind of person, Sunday, make sure you get here before 8:10 p.m. on Sunday. And yeah, $5,000 buy-in. Looking forward to this gigantic prize pool to end the summer.
Yeah, phenomenal events all over town, but you definitely cannot miss out on this one. For those who are more into cash games, those will, also, of course, also be available inside the Venetian Poker Room. And I like that you use the word summer saver. I know that people have been playing all over town, and then sometimes look for that one final event to get into. And given the sort of estimated prize pool, a summer could truly be saved here.
For a lot of people, right? With the amount of money that's going to be in this prize pool, it's not just if you finish in first, right? So yeah, very excited. Obviously, these were great events when we ran them in 21 and 22. And now that we're back hosting partnering with the WPT, I'm expecting this to be a really, really good event.
All right, the Freitas doesn't want to sit around here. Rzentkowski makes it 600K to Freitas, but just a king-queen offsuit makes it 1.95 million. And we are playing some power poker here. Most players in the Freitas spot from the small blind might just be patient with Ward and Orly Lee being as short as they are. But action now back on Rzentkowski, who was simply trying to pick up the blinds and antes.
1.9, you said?
1.950,000.
But the Brazilian player is not going to just let this happen. The Freitas with $367,000 in career tournament earnings. No stranger to big spots. Fun to mention that the Freitas cashed in both seniors events at the WSOP this summer. So it seems as though he's in town on a mission, and he takes this pot down, increasing his stack to 9.5 million. The IT consulting COO from Belo Horizonte in Brazil looks to make something happen here, and aggression paying off in the early goings. And he's mentioning his poker rival Phil Ivey. Well, maybe he'll run into him here at the WPT later this week. Ace-3 suited here for Orly from Israel. He's got 94,000 in career earnings. A win today would be his largest score ever, more than doubling his total.
All in.
All in.
And here we go, Ace-3 suited, moving all in. In a spot like this, you're happy to not get any customers. Picking up those blinds and antes extremely valuable as we're playing 150K, 300K with a 300K big blind ante. But it looks as though he's going to get some action here. Chuck Ward finds ace-queen in the small blind. He is the shorter stack, and he's going to make the call. Mameche hoping to pick up something to perhaps send 2 players to the rail, but instead he finds 10-6 offsuit, and we're going to get a showdown here.
Ace-10, Ace-3.
I'm on 3.
5 million in the middle,
Your diamonds.
and Ward's tournament life on the line. Orly has him covered by just 300K.
guess ace queens are riskier, guys, right?
Yes.
As you can see, Ward, a 67% favorite to find the double up. All right, here comes the flop. 6, 7, Jack, 2 hearts. Orly looking for a 3 and a 3 only. Backdoor straight is possible. No diamonds available to him. Still a little bit of hope here as we await the turn card. Turn is the 5 of hearts.
Well,
And now
that's out.
a 4 or a 3 would send Ward to the rail. As you can see on the top of your screen,
Open.
2 of those already folded. So 3 clean outs here.
No three. No.
Give him a 4 like you said.
River card is the king of spades. And Ward's ace queen will hold up. Or Lee is going to be left with just 300,000, and
0.6.
it's going to be all in on the big blind on the very next hand.
2.150. 2.2.
Toe hold.
50.
Staying your life.
Thanks, sir.
Summer in a way, Tommy. Sort of almost wrapping up. We're getting towards the tail end of things. You got the big World Poker Tour to close things out, more or less. There's a few more ultimate stacks coming up. We're going to show those final tables as well here on the Venetian Poker Live channel and on Poker Go. But look ahead for me to perhaps fall and winter. What are you sort of ruminating on? What sort of ideas do you have, and what can the players expect?
Yeah, like we run poker tournaments every day of the year, right? So whether you're coming in for a couple days or, you know, with family or friends, or whether, you know, it's all poker, all business for you, we've got something for you. We've got tournaments that range usually from $400 to $1,100 buy-in in the fall. So there's a buy-in for everyone. We run some nightly bounty tournaments at $200. So if you're looking to play some poker, it doesn't stop when the summer ends. Believe me, we keep it going pretty hard and heavy throughout the whole year. And we'll have something for you. We got some special events coming up. I know in September we're going to be hosting another MSPT $1,100 event in September. We're also hosting an event, $3,300 buy-in with the Poker Go. So it's a PGT Venetian Classic. Looking at a $1 million guarantee for that. And that, once again, that'll be in mid-September. So we've got some major events coming on the horizon, and it doesn't stop. So although the summer is winding down, it's definitely not over.
Yeah, definitely a different kind of era that we live in nowadays. When I first came to Vegas, you had to really scour the calendar to find a tournament to play, especially in that sort of mid-tier buy-in range. And nowadays, oh my God, let me just interrupt myself here. We got Orly all in the big blind. He only had 350K. Ward makes the call to complete here from the button, and Mameche finds kings in the small, and he's just going to call and slow play. Trickery at the final table. One player all in.
Check in the dark.
We see Queen 3-10 roll off. 2 hearts. Ward does have the ace of hearts.
No one can say we didn't have funny with you, sir. Yesterday, man.
600.
600K is the bet. Ward
Queen
doesn't
eight,
even
so-
want to chase.
What?
Kings.
Kings?
Oh my God.
I had
Your kings? Yeah.
an ace.
And bad news
I had
for
one ace.
Orly,
Ace eight.
who is looking for an ace and an ace only, or else he will be our 6th place finisher. Turn call. Oh! Ace of diamonds on the turn.
And Jack.
Ace eight.
Orly now
It's
It's
just
fine.
looking to
Yeah,
triple up.
that's a game.
fucking game, but
Okay,
it's
okay.
just game.
Give 8. 8 for my friend. Okay. You stay alive. Okay.
King
you
or a
stay
jack
alive.
now
It's okay.
would still give Mameche the win. Oh!
Yeah.
And it's a jack. Broadway straight on the river. And Orly
Thank you, guys.
goes from a hero to 0 through the turn of a card. Oren Orly
You did
is our
hugs, didn't
6th
you?
place finisher, collecting $29,900.
Good playing with you.
Check out.
The final 5 now
Bye-bye.
guaranteed almost $40,000 off their $1,000 entry. Phenomenal ROI for all these players. Battled their way through a massive field. And we are down to the final 5. We are live from the
think a
Venetian
Bloody
Poker
Mary.
Room, located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops. Streaming room located in the back left corner if you want to go and peek inside through the glass.
Good. Thank you, dear.
Hi, thank you.
The World Poker Tour final table
Can you squeeze the lime in
in
there for me too?
a little less than a week will also be streaming from this very room.
Please, sorry, one green tea with lemon. Green tea. Give us a lemon.
Ward on
Thank you
pocket
very much.
fives on the
Not
very
fair.
next hands.
I'm
Table
drinking
dynamics
and you're not drinking?
changing dramatically here as
yet.
we
Buy
no
a
longer
more
have
shot.
someone who is extremely short. Ward on 15 bigs is our short stack.
Raise. 800.
I'm surprised I have king last time he didn't raise. Why is that? There's something fishy going around here, huh?
You mentioned the
Yeah, probably king
upcoming
last time you didn't raise.
MSPT.
No, honestly.
Got the PhD coming in with the classic as well. How
Alright,
do
no,
you
guys.
make sure that all those different events have a place on the calendar? You know, you have to manage so many relationships. Think of the players. You know, think of the staff. Think of how you sort of manage the whole room, because some people come here just for the cash games.
Yeah, it's
Seems
like
to me like a big puzzle to figure
he's
out.
on the
For sure,
on the heat.
right? And it's
Oh,
not
he
just Las Vegas that you're trying to figure out. It's around the country. I mean,
right.
there's so many major tournament series
matter
around the
about
country
that.
from weekend to weekend that you know the players are traveling to participate in, right? So trying to
Yeah,
find that
run
time on the
way off in
calendar,
case I had an
right,
ace,
where you can
an
host
ace
these
is
major
not-
events
Ace,
my
and
fault.
it doesn't impact the guarantee that
That's
you're
not
trying to
right.
put out because there's other major guarantees around the country. It's
Which I
tough,
did have
and
it.
it's got
Something fishy going on here.
you know so much tougher over the last 5 to 6 years. There's just so many events around the country now, and you know poker's thriving in my opinion more than it ever has. And I think you can see that if you just look on a calendar from any given weekend of what's running around.
Yeah, absolutely.
We move in the eight.
Poker calendar
100%.
bigger than ever
All
before.
about, but the whole, you know.
It's good to have
Tournament
options,
itself,
you know, if you're a
yeah.
player, and you guys clearly cater to the players, which is a shift that we've seen over the last decade or so, where it's all about the players now.
Yeah, I mean, without the players, obviously, we don't have a poker room, right?
Right.
So we want to provide the best atmosphere, right? The best environment, the best dealers, right? To where they want to come and make this their home, right? We have the self-service beverage station. We have our own restrooms, right? We've built this streaming studio, right? So we want to showcase the players who support our room,
like-
and we want to give them an environment where they feel, you know, safe and fun and energetic, and there's energy. And I think we've accomplished that so far in this room, right? So the players want to be here, and I think that's very important.
What percentage of your room would you say on a day-to-day basis are regulars, faces you recognize, people that you have like interactions with that are almost becoming, you know, part of the room?
Yeah, I mean, ironically, we've done a couple studies, right, on local versus non-local, right? And you'd be surprised. Probably only about 30% is a local base, and the other 70% is your people who are traveling here, right? People who, yes, they may be, you know, serious poker players, but a lot aren't, right? And they're just here with family and friends. It's a weekend, it's a bachelor party, et cetera, et cetera. They're coming to Vegas. They want to play a good tournament, right? They want some value, and they know that we're going to provide that. They know we're going to give them chips with 30 and 40-minute levels, and they're going to get to have some fun and play a little bit while they're here.
These players have battled for 2 full days to make their way to this final table. And now, with all the money on the line, facing those massive pay jumps. And John Phan, for those asking in the chat, yes, that is the John Phan, the Razor, a longtime World Poker Tour regular, a player who's been part of the scene for over 20 years. It's fun to have him be the headliner here of this final table, but this is far from being a done deal for him. He's got some tough opposition waiting for him.
Check.
That's a
Ace 4-7, 2 diamonds to fret us, flopping a diamond flush draw in this blind battle.
I think this is the first year that John's eligible for these seniors tournaments, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a youngster, you know? By the way, funny you mentioned that. When I saw the lineup card for this table, I'm like, is this a seniors event? Like, in my memory, you know, you used to be old when you were 50, and that's no longer the case.
Well, I just turned 50 this year, so yes, I don't think of myself as a senior. So it's hard to imagine, yeah, that I'm now eligible for these events myself. But yeah, I definitely I might have to rebrand the title of these events because I definitely don't feel like a senior myself.
Maybe you should up the age to 55 to keep yourself out of contention.
There you go. Give me a few more years before I can participate.
Rzentkowski bets 325 on the flop, gets the call from the flush draw. Now continues to battle here, betting 800,000 on the turn. He's just got a pair of 4, so you know we're not going for value here. We're just trying to end this hand on the spot. But the Brazilian, with his flush draw, is giving this some thought.
All 800. Check.
Action arriving on the river, 3 million in the middle. Rzentkowski left with his pair of 4s and decides to check, and the Freitas flush comes in. Unfortunate here for Rzentkowski, who took 2 good stabs at this, but ultimately the river not kind to him. And here we go, the Brazilian going for value on the river.
1.4 million.
And he goes for just 1.4, a little less than half the pot. Rzentkowski clearly going to be done with this. He just has a pair of 4s.
Man, you're gonna beat me every hand.
And the Freitas chipping up to 11 million. We got a new chip leader in town. Just tuning in, the final 5 players of the Venetian 1K Seniors event. It was a 750K guaranteed prize pool. 1 million in the prize pool, to be exact, 144,000 up top. As we look at our upcoming shows here on Venetian Poker Live, more cash game action. Brian Oken, JRB headlining on July 11th. And then we got the WT Celebrity Cash Game, as well as the World Poker Tour 5K buy-in, 4 million final table. Apologies there. The July 11th is today. That's the seniors event final table. So scratch that. We are live right now on July 11th, but that is correct on the Celebrity Cash Game and the World Poker Tour final table as well. So if you're not already a subscriber to the Venetian Poker Live channel, please make sure to do so. Find Venetian Poker Live on YouTube if you're watching this from elsewhere.
Don't listen up. You might spill it. That's why you got to put on behind you.
He's got to listen.
Make it complicated for the.
John Phan, despite being the most talkative player at the table, he is still, or he still hasn't entered the pot yet. His VPIP, as the kids like to say, 0% on hand number 10. But with 9 deuce suited, he is going to put some chips in the pot here. Rzentkowski finds ace-10 off. And he's just going to move all in. Well done. Good recognition from him. With these blinds and antes, you don't want to let any opportunity go to waste to pick up chips. And John Phan, of course, now with a bit of posturing. Little Hollywood, as they say.
4.5 plus.
We all know this is highly unnecessary because the 9 deuce suited is never going to get involved here for 5 million.
with you. Yeah, really. Yeah, they want
Yeah.
to too. First time you were in my life. Yeah, close to the bubble. You were the 6-9 and I was in the 6-1.
All right, so Rzentkowski picks up this important pot
You
with
made
the
a
6.7
lot of
million.
good fold that I showed you.
Tommy, I'm surprised at how comfortable and casual these guys are. They're playing for 144,000. It almost feels more like we're watching a home game.
No, for sure. They all feel very relaxed, like they've been in this position before. And yeah, I definitely would have a lot more nerves, that's for sure. I mean, obviously we know John's experience, right? I mean, that anybody can look that up. But the rest of these players, they look like they've been here before.
Absolutely. And I think that partly has to do with the fact that they've been on this 2-day journey. They've gotten comfortable in this moment. And I'm, a little surprised that under the bright lights in the streaming room, they still are able to be this comfortable. I've been around the game for more than 15 years. And, I've played on a few live streamed final tables myself. And it's always different when the cameras are on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in the back of your mind, you know that people are seeing the cards that you have and what you're doing, and there could be some fear of, what's said about your play. But no, these guys have no fear. They're definitely, they look like they know what they're doing, and they've been here before. And like you said, they feel comfortable. They've been playing for 2 days, and so no, it's a great final table so far.
2-9.
As far as the streaming room is concerned, you've chosen select final tables to stream here. What's been the feedback from the players in the room, about the prospects of playing on a live stream, or perhaps specifically targeting some events because there's a chance for them to play in this room?
Yeah, we've heard nothing but positives about the streaming studio, about how it looks, how much room, just the aesthetics, just how beautiful it is, right? We get so many people that come up and just want to look at it, and that's pretty cool, right? I get excited about that. For sure, I'm proud that we were able to put this together, but yeah, no, players are excited, right, to have family and friends watch them play. Some of these players are traveling from all over the world, right, as evidence today, right, Brazil, right. So to be able to have their friends and family watch them play for all the money, that's a pretty cool thing to be able to say and do, and I'm very proud that our room was able to put this together.
Yeah, I think it's something truly unique to have a space where you can basically have your high-stakes cash game, have your tournament final tables, and have the whole world watch. I think there's many big things to come for the Venetian Poker Room. And if you're watching this and you happen to want to play in the big cash game, there's actually an opportunity. Okensgame.com. He basically has the open invite. So if you have the budget to play in a big high-stakes game, be sure to reach out.
The budget and the stomach, because boy, some of those pots. I don't know if you watched our last stream, but there were some major chips going back and forth. I don't know how those guys do it for sure.
Were you watching it live, or did you catch it later?
I did catch it later.
Okay.
But specifically Julian and Oken, when they clashed for over a $300,000 pot, unbelievable the chips that are flying back and forth.
So the reason why I asked whether you were watching live is because I was texting you during the game saying, like, this game has been absolutely crazy. And, obviously cash games evolve in a certain way. But that game had sort of the perfect firestorm. Some guys going bust, reloading. We saw both JRB and Julian Martini adding tons of money to the table. And, we ended with $1 million on the table, which even for you as a long-time person in the poker community must still sort of make your eyes sort of hurt.
No, to see that kind of money is unbelievable. I mean, I remember being a dealer back in the early days of the Venetian Poker Room and dealing to Chip Reese and Doyle Brunson and Gus Hansen. And, the amount of chips that they had on the table at that time. And you would literally just see, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when you're dealing that, obviously it's a very cool experience. But, obviously you're nervous too, right? You don't want to make a mistake, right? They're playing for a lot of money. But to be able to now have this streaming studio where those games are regular again in our room, and it's super exciting to be a part of it.
The Freitas is our chip leader. He's going to make it 600K here. John Phan not finding any cards to play with. And Rzentkowski here in the big blinds. Similarly, not in a great spot here. You mentioned dealing to some of those greats. Were they different than the average game that a mortal like myself could play in? Were they sort of, I don't know, maybe more on edge or more relaxed, or were they good tippers? Were they maybe a bit more high strung because of what was at stake?
Yeah, I never had any issues in that room. They were all great people. I wouldn't consider them any different than anyone else, but they were playing for just more money than the average person, right? But to them, it was like somebody like myself playing 1-3, right?
Right.
They were playing the game that was suited for them and the bankroll for them, and all great people. Never had any issues. The late great Chip Reese, God bless him, Doyle Brunson, they were great people and never had any issues.
That's always great to hear. Sometimes I just picture, on a bad run, that could be extra painful.
I think those players, they had enough experience to know that it wasn't the dealer, right? They played enough poker to understand that, in the end, they're going to win some, they're going to lose some. But most of the time, those guys won a little bit more than the rest.
Mameche with ducks, raising it up. And we've seen De Freitas being combative in the positive sense of the word. Would not be surprised to see him defend, and he does.
I want to put 6. Sorry. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. No worry. No worry.
All right, 1.8 million in the middle. We're going to see a flop here. Queen, Jack, Jack. I know that there are quite a few people watching right now that are.
Happy to bet 100 more, or are you unhappy after the flop?
Rebate.
I just wanted to quickly bring this update. I think, Tommy, you'll enjoy this as well. I know
I'm
that
not happy.
there are quite a few people interested as well in the WSOP main event, specifically Donnie Peters, who's a co-commentator here at Venetian Poker Live, who we both work with all the time. He just doubled up ace-queen versus kings. He cracked kings. We're on day 6 of the main event. Donnie would be here otherwise. He's got a good excuse. I just had to share that because imagine being in that tournament, given the fact that he's not a pro player, in that situation, right?
I couldn't even imagine, right? Day 6 of the main event is unbelievable in itself, and very happy for Donnie. Hope the ride continues. I mean, we did tell him that he needed some days off because
Yes.
he was filling in there for a while you were busy yourself. So no, happy for Donnie. Hope he enjoys this time off, and hope it's run to the final table.
Yeah, it's wild to think of that. I was doing my own little main event with our newborn, which is a whole different structure. Lots of dinner breaks though in that event also. But yeah, jokes aside, we're all rooting for Donnie in that tournament as we see action continuing to develop here.
You speak for the movies?
Mameche bet 400K on the flop, got called, and now on the turn, De Freitas again with the check and a bet of 1,050,000 with the deuces. The Frenchman here taking a considerable risk, but he doesn't seem to be scared. And here we go, the ace-8 in the muck. Mameche takes the risk and gets rewarded. He is now our new chip leader, up to 13.1 million. Welcome everyone once again to the live chat on both Venetian Poker Live and on Poker Go. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You're watching the seniors event final table with John Phan, the Razor. If you're an OG like myself, you'll remember him from back in the day. It's been a little quiet around him, but he is looking for a big score here today. To put some context
Break.
to John Phan's results.
Is it a break?
Once upon a time, he was
Is it
33rd
a break?
on poker's all-time money list. Right now, and this tells you how much poker has evolved, he is 338th on poker's all-time money list.
Wow.
So, you know, no one's removing money from what he's earned. But everyone else around him has been piling on the cashes, which is just crazy to realize.
And the prize pools have grown so much over the last 10 years. It's incredible.
John Phan, by the way, his most recent large score, also here at Venetian, 2022, he finished second in the 2400
it's
Venetian
break now?
DeepStack for
Okay.
$250,000.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I think about when we started back in 2006, right? And we were running DeepStack series for
Take
the
a
first
break back.
time.
That was-
And we were running $300
break.
buy-ins, $600 buy-ins, right?
Yeah, of course.
And now,
Yeah,
in the
please.
summer, you can hardly even find
Yeah,
those
so-
buy-ins,
Okay.
right? Everything
Right.
is 800,
the clock
1100,
back, yeah.
1600 and above. It's crazy.
All right, the players are going to go on their first break of the day. That
can
also
use
gives
my
me a
phone.
chance to once again
Everybody
thank
wants to
Tommy
skip, but if you
for
want
all that he's done
No, you
for
can use my
poker
phone
and
on
for
Yeah.
the Venetian Poker Room in particular. I'll be joined by Matt Savage after the break. Take a quick look at those chip counts as it stands. Charles Ward needs some help. Mameche, De Freitas, and John Phan, along with Rzentkowski, looking very comfortable. $144,000 up top. We'll be back in 15 minutes for continued coverage of the seniors event final table. Stavia raising up to 225 here. Gets over to Sandberg in the big blind with queen 3 of clubs. Might we peel? Yes, we will. Sandberg is going to make the call, see a flop, hoping for something with a bit of connectivity to get his chips in the middle. And we flop a flush. Holy moly. 8-6-7. Sandberg flops a queen high flush. Stavia, let it be known, can still do one better with the 9 of clubs.
Yeah, Sandberg here just, I mean, try and contain your excitement inside. Can already feel the double up coming. Obviously, you know, you can be overflushed, yes, but unlikely so.
Sandberg peels from the big blind, flops the goods, and now, of course, looking to get the money in, and there we go. Stavia makes it very easy. A bet and a call, and Evan Sandberg's tournament life is on the line. You see it in the top left-hand corner of your screen. 1 out. Just 1 out Sandberg has to dodge, so he is very comfortable here, looking for a double up.
I feel like we're due for a straight flush. We've done enough of these streams now. I feel like we're due for a straight flush, right? I mean,
If you have to go out, might as well be doing 1 outer.
Yeah.
All right, Sandberg, be careful what you wish for. Turn and river still to come. Is Stavia going to find the miracle? Turn card is the 8 of spades. So far, so good. Stavia just needs to fade that 1 card that would make this room erupt. River card. It's a 9 of clubs!
my God.
Oh my God! Sandberg said it himself. If I go out, it might as well be against the straight flush.
He kind of willed it into existence.
I mean, this is his own fault.
We're going to see it in an hour.
Oh shit, that is so dirty.
And there's yeah.
Once again, shout out to everyone who's tuned into our stream tonight. One final time, please. Hit subscribe on the Venetian Poker Live channel.
Yeah. Just give
We
me the
wanna
pot every time.
expand our reach. Make sure everyone knows about this game. This massive game happening every Saturday on the Venetian Poker Live channel and on PokerGo.
And, right, if there's any millionaires or wealthy
Yeah.
people, affluent people that want to come play,
Yep.
JRB said, look, you show up here with 50K, 100K.
How many raises are you going to make?
Maybe we can get you in the game.
You can
How many raises
DM,
you
you can
gonna
DM
make?
me on Twitter or find a way to contact Venetian Poker Live on social media. We will pass along your contact details to JRB as we see
You're ahead.
a massive pot building here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Brittany all in for 37,600.
We can't even plug the channel.
No. We go
today
2K,
I'm very
11, 27,
Today I'm very lucky.
and now we are all in
Don't mess with Brittany, bro.
77,000.
Always the queens.
Queens for the queen.
Running it
Yeah.
twice. King 7-6.
We're doing it twice.
No,
shot
no,
here
please
for-
don't put the 8 out there.
JRB.
Please don't. No 8. No 8, Brittany. Please. No, just no 8.
Jack of hearts is okay.
9 on the turn. Additional
No
outs for
8, no
JRB.
9, no 10. Okay? No 8, 9, 10. No
he's
8, 9,
lying.
10.
Don't believe him.
No, come on, don't do that to Brittany. She's so lovely.
River card. The 6 of hearts.
That's a bad pickup.
That's a really, really bad card for me.
Lots of
Really
JRB's
hard
outs
underdog. You
being
use 3
mixed
cards.
there. The 6-7,
heart.
2 hearts,
Two
a
hearts.
9.
Squandered.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, second board. Oh, look at this. 7, 8, 4.
Every hand's
Now you got a chance.
The sixes.
Jack or a 6
Oh, my
now.
sixes.
sixes are
Oh,
gone.
JB to split it.
no.
6 outs.
Jack,
Jack's
dead.
Jack's out.
No jacks,
You
though.
can hit a jack.
We're all wild.
Lots of jacks left.
can have
Lots
a
of
jack.
jacks. Lots of jacks left.
Oh,
Three of spades,
Lots
not
of
gonna do
jacks
it.
left.
okay, chop it.
Put like a
How much, Brittany?
black 4.
All right, river card. The 10 of diamonds.
Needle.
And Brittany
What
is going
a
to double
needle.
through JRB.
He's gotten a
Not
couple
even
small
my
bluffs
worst
through,
quiver
but now he's
ever.
got a real hand.
Messed that game up so badly. Can't believe I didn't call Peter with an ace there. That was crazy.
And Isaac looks interested.
但是二勾五，你们不是大概率更没勾
You
了
had a
吗？
spade block.
I had 9 that hand.
没想到
I had 9 that hand.
而且我
I had a
我
spade
发现
blocker.
辅导你的，
And JRB in the straddle with ace queen of diamonds makes it 15,000.
Those blockers don't mean shit to me.
Oh, baby. Peter with that look in his eyes,
They got the flush. They got the flush.
like I'm coming after
They
you.
got the full house.
Oh, yeah. So what else you got left there, JRB? Because I'm going to put it all in
33.
there.
33.
The excitement from Peter here.
King Jack, huh? Okay, okay.
That's
King
30.
Jack up.
Peter being a little meticulous here with his bet
God
size.
dang it, really?
Puts in
Dang.
32,000.
Peter-
Easy one
Peter-
for Isaac here.
Peter just gets the action, doesn't he?
JRB knows he's...
He's
he
at
knows
one.
he's putting it in. He doesn't know how good he is.
Why, you have a big hand? Yeah, obviously.
All right, running it twice. 100,000 in the middle.
Ooh, I know.
JRB versus Peter.
What are you gonna do?
That's okay.
Jack
Okay.
It looks worse than it
Nice
is.
hand,
JRB does have a pretty good hand here against kings.
All right, can JRB find an escape here to get his money back?
Yeah. Yeah.
First flop, let's see it. And there's the diamonds.
Wow.
When
King
you
of
run
diamonds.
it twice, you always want to win the first one, Remco.
Yep.
That's not good for you.
Not at all.
And there's the diamonds. Peter looking for a king or a 4 to make a full house. Otherwise, JRB will be free
Four,
roll on
I
this
also-
hand.
4. Come on, make it fun. Fun for the viewers. 4. Oh, unlucky, unlucky,
都是还要发个 ace 分。
unlucky.
He's needling as he wins.
Hayo ace, hayo ace,
No ace.
hayo ace.
You said ace. 那都可以。
Hayo means
Can he
there's
do it
still
twice?
aces, that's what he said.
Yeah.
There's still aces.
哦哟，还好。
Jack 8-5, 2
Chopper
clubs.
good, I'm very happy. Gaoxing with the chop.
Chopper.
Chopper Gaoxing. Chopper Gaoxing.
Diamond.
Happy with the chop.
Chopper.
Ace!
Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
oh,
it
come
hurts
on,
so
dealer.
bad.
Oh, man.
Bullshit. Okay, never come back Venetian again. The host of the game, that's how we run.
JRB with the miracle pull
Unlucky.
How's that
wins 2 boards with
What
ace
happened
queen
to
versus
JRB of old that
kings.
used to always get all the bad beats? Now
Oh
I'm the
my
lucky
God.
fucker.
We got ace 3 of clubs checking in the straddle, so there's a lot of formidable hands here going to the flop.
But it's quit
Is there a quit button in there?
Jack 7-6, PP flopping the nut flush draw. We got Isaac bottom end of the open-ended. Jack top pair for Nick. Once again, lots of customers here potentially.
Yeah, multi-way pots. You got to just tread carefully. That's my best advice. Tread carefully.
Well, no care enacted as PP makes it 13,000 immediately. Action back on Isaac.
So here Isaac, when he bet on the button, it's like, yeah, I have an up and down straight draw. You have a 5 high. Maybe I just want to try to win the pot. But when you're up against all these people and you don't have much else to go with it, you might just want to have checked. But he gets check raised here, and now he's going to see the turn. And he's got decent equity, but he's not going to feel comfortable unless he hits a straight. A 4 or 5 is not going to feel good.
Wow, 8 of diamonds on the turn.
Wow, say wow again.
Wow.
Because this is a huge card. Because PP's not slowing down here. PP check raise the flop as a bluff, right? So he's just going to keep blasting. And look at Isaac's poker face here.
24,000 is the bet. Isaac has 112 left on the turn here.
So you just ask yourself, do I want to trap and slow play?
He does
Keep their range open?
Right. He just makes the call. Looking to fade a club. 7 pairs on the river. Less than a pot-sized bet left here for PP. Now, does he want to surrender? Does this man look like someone who surrenders? He's got the Richard Mill on the wrist. An indication, perhaps, of his
Richard
willingness
Mill.
to bluff.
Yeah, I'm just messing around. Richard Mill on the wrist. Watch as I grab my chips.
And here we go. 45,000 is the bet. And the quick call from Isaac, who wins $171,000 pot.
Holy shit.
Wow, man. Wow. I mean, these just happen so fast.
Chips are flying. Waiting for those graphics to catch up here. A6-3 on board.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
this is what we're
not
watching
real.
for Peter? This is disaster.
Oaken makes the call, and we've got 2 pair versus 2 pair.
Could this night be going any worse for Peter?
The 9 of spades on the turn. And some eagerness here from Peter, who just casually tosses out 25,000. Is this a situation where Oaken must think, well, if Peter has any ace, can I get him to call a shove here?
It's a spot where you just keep calling, because if he's bluffing, you let him keep bluffing, and if he has whatever, like he has, he's going to keep betting.
Oh.
So,
And Oaken moves all in on the turn.
Oh, Peter just got to feel sick, but I mean. you
Oh,
got
he
two
makes the
pair.
call.
Yeah.
237 in the middle.
原来是这样子。
2 pair versus 2 pair, and
哦，
Peter can only laugh at how unlucky he's been getting.
Yeah, I mean, geez. What can you do?
Youngster, 2 times.
Awful.
2 times here. And Peter with only 2 outs.
Gross. Gross.
What a disgusting turn of events for
Tough
Peter.
day for him. First, I
2 pair
fucking-
versus straight,
Oh, nice.
now 2 pair versus 2 pair.
陷进去。
I got no words, Remco.
I mean, I'm speechless.
Sometimes it's just one of those nights. Nothing can go your way.
红边顶马。
First river card incoming. The deuce of hearts. That was close.
Wow.
Oaken now free rolling. Peter still with only 2 outs. Needs to hit a 3 in order to get his money back here. 7 of spades, and
4.
Brian Oaken will double
Shawan,
the
ooh.
238 as
Survive.
Peter takes another massive hit. Probably picking up some new followers tonight.
24.
Peter makes it 2,400 with 5-4 of spades. Quite a few nice hands for deep stack cash play here.
Oh yeah, suited connectors always play pretty good. They play a little bit different when you're playing limped pots because the ranges are wider, but the king 10 of hearts you like to have too.
Look at this.
Holy crap.
3, 4, 5, 2 hearts.
Holy crap.
Isaac flops the 7 high straight. We got the hard flush draw for Oaken. We got 2 pair for Peter. I need a seatbelt.
Yeah, Peter's already itching right here. I can tell. Look, he's crawling out of his skin thinking about how he's going to get a bunch of money in here.
This is unbelievable. This flop is hitting 3 players extremely hard, and the stacks are super deep.
And this is really cool. I love seeing all three players with the biggest hands lined up in that last camera shot because everyone is trying not to give off anything.
And Oaken with a monster draw.
Yeah, that's a good call there with the King 10 of Hearts. You can be dominated by some Ace X of Hearts. You'd really, yeah. So let's see a turn.
It's the King of Diamonds, and Oaken hits top pair. Now, this is actually quite almost like troublesome for Oaken because he's going to pay a much bigger price now to see the river, even though his pair outs are dead. He can just hit a king for trips, and that's also not going to do anything.
Yeah, well, what might save Oaken here is being in position and what happens with Peter and Isaac. Because if there's a big bet and a raise, you undoubtedly know your flush draw is in bad shape, equity-wise. Peter should be a little more cautious here, but with two pair, you know, whatever. But think about, just look at the board. 3, 4, 5, 2 hearts, 2 diamonds. What are all the hands that exist?
Peter bets 40,000, and Isaac, with the straight and the flush draw, now has an insane spot.
Yeah, you got the monster of all monsters you can call here, Trap.
Welcome back to Venetian Poker Live. The final table of the seniors event is underway and down to 5 players. They're all guaranteed $40,000 on their 1K investment in this event that generated a prize pool of $1 million. There's $144,000 up top awaiting the champion, and if you're listening to my voice, you'll be able to watch the entire final table until we have a winner. We are live on both the PokerGo channels and on Venetian Poker Live. And this week, Venetian is having a massive week of action featuring not only a WPT Celebrity Cash Game, but also a massive WPT main event final table. Joining me, Matt Savage. Matt Savage, of course, the man behind the World Poker Tour, the man who makes sure that the World Poker Tour continues to spread across the world globally and grow as it does year after year. Matt, thanks for joining me. What's been the first impressions here over at Venetian?
Thanks. It's the first time I've been in this room. Amazingly, I've been supposed to been over here a few times. They've had some good meetup games and things like that with Jamie Kerstetter and the like, but haven't been in this room until today, and I am very impressed.
Yeah, as I always say, and of course, you know, people can say that I'm biased because I come here all the time. One of my favorite places in Las Vegas on the Strip, beautiful poker room, a very beautiful atmosphere also. The lighting I really like, and then on top of that, the parking just below the poker room. Bathrooms inside the poker room, just all around great place to play.
Yeah, I just parked and walked straight up, and I had no idea where it was at. It was great. A lot of signs to tell you where to go. It's perfect.
Yeah, so level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops for those who have not been here and who are coming by car. Matt, big week, as I mentioned, for the World Poker Tour here at Venetian. Tommy mentioned it at the top of the show. Venetian did not have a World Poker Tour from quite some time. You guys are back now. Tell the audience a little bit of what went into bringing it back.
Happy to be back. This $5,000 buy-in with a $4 million guarantee. It's a big one for us. The last event that we had here was in, I believe, 2021, where we had 1,100 entries, and hope to have about that same amount for this one. But always been a big fan of the Venetian, of course, and working with Tommy LaRosa, who not only runs the tournaments, but runs the room itself. He's been a great partner to have. So just excited to be back here at the Venetian as one of the best rooms that we have here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so that event, a 5K buy-in?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're turning things up a notch?
Turning it up a notch, yeah. Generally, we run a lot of 3500s. Here, we decided to go a little bit bigger, you know, with people that are going to be in town with all the events going on. There's another tournament going on down the street this week that we're, you know, going to be kind of getting some players from for our event, but at the same time, you know, a $4 million guarantee is nothing to laugh about. It's awesome.
Absolutely. So today that event gets underway. If you are in town, we joked about it, you can save your summer with this big World Poker Tour. It's good to generate some awareness for that. Multiple starting flights as well. Give us some insight into the structure of the event, like how long do players have to play? What's the latest they can enter?
The latest they can enter is on Sunday at 8 o'clock, but there's 3 starting days, a 1A, 1B, and 1C. And they are playing 11 levels on day 1, so to be a long day today, but we're going to get really close to the money and come back and trying to complete this one by next Thursday, where we have a final table and will also be live streamed in here as well. Yes?
Yeah, Matt, you get a little preview of what that's going to be like here in our Venetian Poker Live streaming booth as we catch the action here on the turn. Blind battle started without any aggression, just a limp and a check in the blinds. We go check, check, and now Mameche betting 900K on the turn. Perfect timing for you to join me here, Matt, because of all the players that we could have had at this final table, John the Razor Phan, probably one with the largest connection to the World Poker Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Has played the World Poker Tour for a long time. Was the Card Player of the Year in 2007.
Wow.
Or 2008. So he's been around for a long time. He actually battled that year with Dragon, David the Dragon Pham for Player of the Year, and I believe he finished second the year before that as well.
Give me a break yesterday.
He's definitely been around for a long time. I didn't even know he was 50 years old. I saw him out there before the tournament started, and he said he just turned 50 now. So.
Just flat call yesterday.
It's actually
Queen.
the same conversation I had with Tommy. Tommy
the movie.
told me he turned 50
If
this
I
year.
I don't have Queen.
John
I take
Phan
Queen.
also turned
Why
50
not?
this year. I feel as though 50 is not what it
you
used
do
to be.
50 isn't what it used to be. I take a little bit of offense to say that that's a senior citizen.
If I
I
don't
don't
have
consider
Queen,
myself
okay.
a senior
Well,
citizen
you
yet.
have to. You have
However,
Queen,
I am
5
eligible to
or
play in
4.
these events.
Yeah, we should definitely consider moving the age up to 55.
Well, they have
You
super
better
senior
do it
events
with
now
club.
too.
I-
So
I-
and some senior high rollers around town.
Perhaps a race.
It's actually a very,
flop?
very good event.
No,
I
before
didn't
the-
get to play
No,
any
the
this
flop,
year,
I
but
was gonna-
definitely will miss it, and I did miss it, and
I
paid
we'll
the
be back
you know?
to playing some senior events next year.
Yeah, definitely ageism that I'm not allowed to play in these tournaments.
Absolutely.
It is funny, speaking of age in poker, obviously I came up during a time, and I'm 37, so I'm right smack dab in the middle of sort of aging into the game along with some of the stars that become eligible soon for something like the Poker Hall of Fame, 40 being the minimum age for that. And it is funny how the poker world as a whole has aged so much because the influx of new players is not what it used to be on the younger side, right?
Right.
A lot of the new players now are already in a situation where, they might have successful careers or they are at least in somewhat financially independent. As opposed to my generation, we were all 16, 17, 18 playing free rolls, getting into poker from that angle.
For sure. A lot of those players came from the online world, as you know, and back when you could play online poker anywhere in the United States legally, or gray market legally, and a lot of those guys I've seen them grow up.
Yep.
And they've become legends of the game at being 35 years old, 37 years old, and 40 years old. And you talk about the Hall of Fame it's actually coming out today. They're going to make the announcement today, and I'm here with you, so that tells you I didn't win, but that's okay.
Though, but you can now add to your resume, at least in the future also, and of course you are very deserving of being in, of the longest running member to be nominated for the Poker Hall of Fame.
Yeah, actually, I have 10 nominations now, and actually Mike Matasso has more. He has 11.
Oh, okay.
He has 11 nominations. So
Bit of a last longer there. You guys
we're
should
1-2.
put a wager on that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's getting in today either, so I think it will be another year of hopefully being nominated. And, it's a great honor to be nominated, and just happy to have your name brought up every year. It's kind of interesting, once you actually get into the Hall of Fame, nobody really mentions your name anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
So my name gets brought up every year.
It's good for social media engagement. That once a year you get to bring this up.
Exactly.
Now, of course, the Hall of Fame
Good day,
conversation
Lisa.
is extremely complex, just because of the way that it's structured. We could spend an hour talking just about that as we take a little look here at the payouts of this seniors event. As I mentioned, 40K guaranteed for the final 5, 144,000 up top. So ICM pressure is going to be tremendous for these players. You can play to win and bust in 5th, or you can ladder up and get 3rd and just collect that extra $33,000 by being a bit more cautious. So we'll wait and see and follow along to find out who will be able to win this thing. John Phan came into the final table as chip leader, has been very tight and conservative, also not receiving any good cards, so he's been
So you
dwindling
say
down
12,
slowly.
You're not keeping your word.
On the other hand,
Yeah, never say
You
it.
said he came into the final table as a chip leader?
he was, yeah, he was the chip leader. On the second-handed play, he got jacks with 2 players all in front of him. He correctly folded as one of those players had queens, and since then, John has not had any playable hands. But Mameche up 4.4 million since the final table started. He is our overwhelming chip leader, but as the stakes are very high, one hand can turn this whole thing around very quickly. But yeah, back to our Hall of Fame conversation, which I think is very interesting. As the online generation starts to age, there are more and more people eligible that are also very deserving.
Right.
So it almost feels as though the backlog that's being created is going to make this a harder and harder conversation every single year.
Absolutely. It's yeah, there's definitely a backlog, and there's, you know, a lot of conversation about, you know, should they admit more than one person a year? You know, I'm on the side of they should do that, but you know, it's up to them. It's, you know, actually owned by the World Series of Poker, so, you know, they have that decision to make, and it's a difficult one. I'm sure that, you know, not everybody that's in the Hall of Fame wants it to change, and so because of that, and they're the ones that vote for the people that get in, you know, it may not change, it may stay the same way it is. But there's a lot of conversation out there in the poker media about making changes about that, and we'll see, you know, how that ends up. But for now, it is what it is. And 40 years old, you know, you can stand the test of time at 40 years old now. You know, I think that I'll put a prediction out there. Nick Schulman's getting in today.
I mean, again, just like the others that are nominated, Nick Schulman, very deserving.
Absolutely.
That's what makes this so complex, right?
Absolutely.
And I do feel as though,
Can't trust him.
given where we are
Always
and how
bluffing.
mature the world of poker is, we could even
Not shown one bluff in 2 days.
do something where, as the moneymaker generation has now reached the age of 40 for the most part, you could induct 10 people from the generation like right away.
Absolutely.
Like all 10 of those, and I can name a bunch of names that would be eligible. Just look at the all-time money list, right? If you go down the list, they are either about to or have just turned 40. And I feel like if you're in the top 100 of the all-time money list, unless you've had just one big score, you are more or less in the conversation.
For sure. And, you know, of course, you know, bracelets weigh heavy onto that decision too. And, you know, as people are getting more and more of them every year, it's, you know, it's going to be tougher and tougher to get in, even to get nominated, if they're only going to be taking 10. So we'll see how it goes. And here, ace deuce and ace 3.
Yeah, we got some action brewing here. And John Phan has been reshoved on by Rzentkowski, who this time decides to let it go. The ace 3 suited. This might be a nice little pickup.
Sorry.
As we're playing 200K, 400K with a 400K big blind ante. So massive stakes here. 40-minute levels in this tournament. Phenomenal structure for these gentlemen.
I fold. I folded. I let you have one.
Of all people to talk about structures,
You see the video.
you're probably one of the best ones to have in the booth here. I find the structure conversation fascinating because you can always talk about giving players a lot of play versus making the tournament have a reasonable runtime to, you know, reach the money or reach the final table, or how long the final table is going to take. How do you strike that balance?
Well, you know, it's funny that we are at the Venetian because they are the ones that started the deep stacks, and I was always a proponent of keeping less and less chips. And as the Venetian deep stack started, it seemed like more and more chips were being given out across the industry, and it became like a chip battle. Like the first conversation everybody always had, they would call you on the phone. You have that tournament today. How many chips do you start with?
Yes.
And, you know, I always hated that back in the day, and I still do to this day because, you know, adding a lot more chips to the tournament creates a lot of other issues. You have to have more dealer downs. You have to charge more rake. You have to do all those things that I always fought against for many, many years. And, you know, in the end, I think that we've probably reached the level where we're not going to go much higher on the chips. And I just think that structures are very important. And more people these days are looking for one-day events,
yes, absolutely,
shorter events. Mike Sexton and I always used to talk about doing a WPT with just the weekend warriors where, you know, our championship events now have a minimum of 1 hour, but we always wanted to do like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday finish with 40 minutes, and you know, see how that people would respond to that.
Yeah,
But,
tell them too, yeah.
you know, I am
I'm talking
a
about
big
the
proponent of
neighbors
having
right
good
now.
structures
You don't
for
have to worry about
players,
his neighbor.
and I always want the structure to be better later in the tournament when it matters most.
Thank you.
No problem.
John Phan with fours,
Whatever you want to do.
raising it up.
My neighbor.
Ah,
Trying
the
to
rule,
read-
no?
John Phan, has he been in the table talk a little bit?
Oh yes,
Right.
oh yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nothing has changed. more talk than play.
Okay. Yeah, he was always deliberate
about that.
back in the day. Has he been deliberate today as well?
He
Yeah.
honestly,
Okay.
of all
Thank
the
you.
players, he's been the slowest
Totally right.
by
Okay.
far. He's also been the most talkative. I feel that sometimes tight players
It's been a rough 3 days for us. so
talk
it's-
more
they have
to compensate
win
for
and
the fact
lose.
that they don't play any
Feel
hands.
good.
Yeah.
Just to prevent.
Yeah,
some
we used to
mistakes.
say the
Yeah.
loosest
Why not?
lips
Yes.
and the tightest chips.
I
Back in the
think
day.
you're spot on. that is a very good way to put this.
I see that they don't have a clock here at the final table.
I think there's a clock that the players can see.
Okay.
It's off to the side.
No, I mean like a clock on their hands. They
Oh,
don't
you
have
mean
my
the
favorite
like an
hand.
action
Yeah.
or shot clock? Correct.
I win that hand like 95% all the time.
My
I don't
favorite
have a
hand is
favorite
aces.
hand.
You too?
That's also something that
Not
my favorite
when
hand
you
is aces.
first became a tournament director wasn't even a conversation.
Not at all. We didn't really have a lot of slow players back then. People played much quicker back in those days, and it didn't really.
I smell something.
Discount it,
I smell
but you need to count it
something.
again. 1.62.
Listen,
I smell something. It's 2.6, not 1.6.
Yeah, we'll go along with that.
John Phan
Well,
correctly
You said 1.6, so
assessing.
you only get 1.6, okay? It
a
is,
shove
it's
here for
1.6,
2.6 million.
I meant you will get
Yeah,
out of the
okay.
way here with the
Yeah.
9-4, but
Dylan,
This is-
honestly, Dylan.
we'll peel this hand with John Phan. See
Yeah,
what
so put
see what he has.
1.62.
It is
Yeah,
interesting though because he announced
Put it
1.6
back to him.
and then he slid stack forward the stack.
Put
Verbal
1.6 in there only. Put 1.6
Is
in
leading, I believe.
there. There you go. You know
Ah,
what you're doing.
that is true.
I slid it in before I said it.
As we said in the TDA, you know,
1.6
the,
only. 2 is
that
less
was
than.
founded in
You
2001.
got to round it up.
Verbal declarations
1.6
in
only,
turn
to be
are
exact.
binding.
Yeah, no need ruling. It's just 200. You got to round it to the.
Now
if it's
I'm going to
300,
be
round
really
it to
upset
500.
if John
the
Phan
five
has
back.
7 deuce.
Yes.
He needs to have at least
I
ace
said
10.
I think, but you need to count.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said I think.
We could roll back the tape. Did he say I think, or did he
He
say?
said
did say I
1.6.
think. I definitely heard that.
Yes.
I said I think, but you need to count.
Well, TV, so you don't think
Whatever.
you
Great that I'm in the booth for
You
this.
say-
I love this stuff. This has been my life for the last 30
Okay,
years.
fine.
1.62.
Put all in.
Yeah, it don't matter. It'll go all in next after the flop.
So match is
Says
1.6,
it doesn't
right?
matter, but it might matter. We'll see.
Come back.
But yes, we will be upset if John has 7 deuce here.
I know
And he's
because
just wasting all this
Now you
time.
can fold.
it's a legit conversation if you have a legit decision. Otherwise, you're just
He's
wasting
not calling
everyone's time.
anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll be
But he is also correcting, and I don't mind correcting somebody on that. It's King 9.
King 9.
Action's buying, that's the reason why.
Not a hand he
That's
would
fine.
play for 1.6 or 2.6. I'm just going to say here.
It's funny we talk about rules because I
If
actually
you call now,
have.
you're not going
You
to
can
fold
look it
when I
up.
push the rest
I
of it
created
in.
a John Phan
Or
rule
you're just going to
Oh,
fold
wow.
now,
in the
so it
early
doesn't-
Same different, man. I
2010s.
don't know why
Exactly.
why you did what you did. That's why.
Actually, if he'd have let him bet the
Angle is right
2.6,
here.
he probably wouldn't have had a decision. Now,
I said maybe there's an angle you try to do. Call
Yeah,
the
that's-
number and then.
That's me with my short stack here.
Honestly,
So 1.21.
I'm not a tournament director, but this is the type of stuff that really irks me because John Phan knows he's never playing King 9 off in this situation. He's also not playing it for 2.6 million. So he's just wasting everyone's time.
correct.
Now, if he had a legit decision, that'd be completely different. But I feel like I need to call it as I see it. because you can ruminate on the king-9 off, but John Phan has barely played a hand at this table. He's not just going to go crazy with king-9 here. Now, if he does, I will eat my words very quickly.
Yeah, you're
This
right.
is
He's
not
definitely folding.
This is not the body language of someone who's going to continue in this hand. Needlessly burning some clock here.
Nice hand.
So Matt, the John,
There you go.
the John Phan rule. What's the specifics there?
Just get a little
So-
TV time.
Next time, just say all in. That's right.
It started with
say
a hand back
1.60.
with Lane
Okay.
Flack
1.60, yeah.
at the Bicycle Casino in Southern California.
Am I right, guys?
And John Phan, when we started using all-in buttons, was around the late 2000s.
I'll try to do better.
Around
You are
2007, I
100%
think we
right.
started using
Exactly.
all-in buttons.
When
There used to
someone
not even be
says
all-in buttons on the table. And then we started doing that.
What do you think?
And John Phan did this thing to Lane Flack where he said, "Dealer, can I see the all-in button?" when the action was on.
Yeah.
And then
his hand.
he looked at it,
Yeah.
and
Must be
Lane
different
says,
though.
"I call." And
Because my
John
hand
said,
was-
"No, no, no, I just wanted to see the
I
button."
know, but my
I'm
hand was
kidding.
out.
I'm kidding. I don't want to.
So
disturb this.
No, but
the
I would
floor
call
came to
to
the table and said,
I-
"No, no, no, he just asked to
was
see the
afraid-
button.
I was afraid the
He's
guy
not
next to
all
me had
in."
a lot of chip,
And
yeah.
Lane went nuts and went crazy and was texting me and calling me and saying,
I don't mind
"Can you
calling
believe
that
he
hand.
did this?"
Right.
So I went and warned him before the start of the LA Poker Classic, which was a $10,000 buy-in tournament. I said,
more-
"If you ever do this, you're all in."
No more
Sure enough, I got
controversy
called to
here.
the table.
Oh my God.
Same exact
Yeah, like that,
situation.
easy,
I said, "You're all in."
Easy
The other guy
peasy.
said, "I call." And next thing I know, he was saying that, "No, no, I just wanted to see the button." I said, "John, I already warned you about this. You're all in." He went broke.
Worked
He didn't
every
talk to me
time
for
till
about
the
10
last
years.
one.
I mean,
This is not no joke.
Thanks, sir.
He talked to me today, but he didn't talk to me for 10 years. But you can Google that one. The John Phan rule of
The
poker
last one you were desperate.
was all based on that decision.
I find it highly entertaining how John Phan, who just sort of half jokingly said, "Are you trying to shoot an angle here with like the raise and the raise size and verbally declaring versus pushing the stack forward?" That the player who suspects there to be an angle is usually the player who would consider there to be an angle to be had.
Correct. Yeah,
Right.
and he just talked about that just now. Maybe you're angling me, so
Right.
The old saying is, what is it? It takes one to know one, or is that what it
Yeah,
is?
exactly. Yeah. A liar thinks he's being lied to.
But I've always liked John. I mean, I'm saying all this stuff, but it's not out of school. This all really happened, but I do think that for sure he knows the game, and he knows the rules. And a lot of times people will say, if you know the rules and you can use them to your advantage, then are you doing something incorrectly? Is that angling? Is that cheating? And a lot of conversation about that.
And also the sort of sliding scale on which cheating and angling live is also interesting. Not all angling is cheating, but all cheating is angling.
Correct.
Which I think is also,
Yeah.
some of it is
Right,
is
that-
just
that
bad
first time I had
etiquette,
fucking jack,
and some of
wow.
and some of it is
Yeah, ace queen.
downright
Imagine
worthy
you
of
have ace
disqualification.
king, oh,
Yeah,
he
even
doesn't
knowing
have
the
no
rules,
range,
just
no
like
good,
what just
yeah.
happened there. If the
That's
floor
all
doesn't
you
get called to
raise.
the table and the other players
I thought
accept that
big
the
blind
player
called too.
meant to move all in there when he did that, then there's no reason to call the floor. There's no reason, to have this conversation. And because of that, him knowing the rules, he's able to use that to his advantage. And, in some respects, I've always said that if you know the rules, you're in a much better place in this game. And so, I've always have support of people knowing the rules. And if you then do use them to your advantage, like John just there, I don't have a real problem with that, to be honest.
John.
Except for the fact that we knew he wasn't calling.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That's a big factor there. John Phan finds Queen Jack suited in the cutoff. Putting together a small raise here to try and pick up those blinds and antes.
900,000.
The dancing on the tightrope becomes more and more difficult as the structure moves forward, but the stacks stay in there. And Rzentkowski with the real hand, pocket nines on the button.
Raise. All in.
And he's going to move all in for 22 big blinds.
Do you like that?
I love that.
You love it. Okay.
I think that given the way this table has played, players are they are opening a little wider, but they don't want to play for stacks. And with nines here, you're not unhappy to get called by anything other than an overpair, but at the same time, you're happy to just pick up the chips here without showdown. I think that calling or 3-betting opens yourself up to difficult decisions, especially given how small the stacks are.
Sure. Yeah, that's right.
And now you see John Phan once again.
Not calling ever.
Not calling, but, you know, me being an amateur poker player, I love that queen jack. I love to look at that hand. And
Call me one of these times.
if the cards are face up here,
I will eventually. I don't know when.
I still don't think John would call for just a flip here. But, you know, he's going to be deliberate.
It's very funny to see how poker has evolved. Me, a longtime fan of watching Mike and Vince on the call on the World Poker Tour, and how different poker commentary, poker analysis, poker strategy was back in those early days. And I would say that when I first got into poker, in a situation like this, you would actually consider calling with Queen Jack.
King?
Now, the poker content that's out there, whether it's through commentary, through strategy videos, or even just players discussing hands, there's certain situations that are, you know, quote unquote solved, where you're just simply never calling, right? And that's a big difference from when Mike and Vince used to call the action.
Right, but I don't think that John has probably ever looked at a solver in his life. Maybe he has, but I don't think so.
But even John knows that it's just sort of common sense.
Correct. That he's just, you know, if he's up against ace king or ace queen there, he's just in such a terrible spot. And you said he is playing, you know, quite snug as well. John Phan now down to 6.7 million.
And now on 16 bigs, with ace-8 off, facing the chip leader in the big blinds. A situation where you could get yourself into trouble. Matt, while we watch this hand unfold, I'm curious, I'm going to get real specific here. I'm curious what you remember about your first ever day at the World Series of Poker, because you've been around for a long time. You've been involved with WSOP and the World Poker Tour,
very
of course,
good story.
for a very long time. I'd like for you to take us back to the beginning.
Okay, so the first time I walked into the World Series of Poker was 2001, and it was because I had the idea of standardizing the rules of tournament poker, because I was playing poker tournaments around the Bay Area all the time, and I saw that the rules were different from room to room and property to property, and because of that, I had the idea of starting what became the Tournament Directors Association. So the first time I ever walked into the World Series of Poker was in 2001, and it was to talk to the tournament director at the time, Bob Thompson, and I suggested that we sit down and talk, and we did. And I said that let's come up with the rules of poker, and let's make them standardized. And they kind of scoffed and laughed at it and said, you know, it's been tried before, it's never going to happen. But luckily, I knew Linda Johnson at the time, and Linda had the World Poker Industry Conference, and so we tied it on to the end of that, and that's how the TDA was formed. So that was the first time I ever walked into the World Series of Poker. In 2001. Now in 2002, Tom McAvoy was at the World Series kind of as an advisor and asked me if I would be interested in running the World Series of Poker.
I don't have a
And in 2001, there was a lot of conflict with whether the staff got paid and the dealers got paid as they should have in 2001. So Linda advised me to actually not work the World Series. And I told Linda, I said, it's just such a great opportunity. It doesn't even matter if I do get paid. It's a good opportunity for my career to do that. And you know, it was all because of walking in there in 2001 and starting the Tournament Directors Association. Now, a lot of people don't know that back in Binion's Horseshoe, in the 2000s, it was in a place called Benny's Bullpen. It was a very small room. There was one bathroom outside of there with 2 stalls. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
2 stalls. Usually one of them wasn't working at the time, and You know, the elevators to get up to Benny's bullpen never worked. And it was a much different time, the World Series of Poker, let's say that.
I love stories from the past. I find it funny that I now even have stories from the past.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting older, buddy.
2009, I was 21. That was my first time coming to Vegas. And now having lived in Las Vegas for 6 years driving around, you sometimes end up, you know, seeing things or having memories of, oh, yeah, you know, that was different back then. And I catch myself in that way, sort of reminiscing a little bit.
9-7 versus Jack's deuce here, and John did catch second pair here. But Mamechi is making a bet.
One big blind. I can't know.
400K bet here into 1.2 million.
It's a minimal.
And, you know, this is a result of the play being on the slower side, not having seen an elimination in a while. The players do not have much flexibility, and that's resulting in very passive play.
John now picks up a straight draw in addition to his second pair.
Now for John Phan, of course, he's got showdown value with his jack. Would obviously love for Meche to bluff at it, but it looks as though John's going to protect his hand here versus draws, which I don't really see what Meche could have here that he is worried about. Be unlikely for him to have an ace. There was no pre-flop raise. And if he does have an ace, you don't want to build the pot. So John Phan here taking a stab on the turn.
675,000.
One six.
Whoa,
nice.
Baby.
No, raise.
All of a sudden, the dynamics in this hand completely change. And this is exactly what I was getting at. You know, the Jack Deuce here obviously is not a very weak hand, but you're making it harder for yourself here. Give him a Meche room to pressure you. And now John Phan probably thinking to himself, if I call, what am I going to be faced with on the river?
Doesn't look like he likes it. Let's just say that.
I mean, he...
like Mike Sexton used to say, it doesn't look like John Phan can swallow a BB at this point.
Yeah, this is awkward. It's an awkward situation for John. The chat not too pleased with John's slow approach to the game, and we're probably going to see some serious deliberation here.
This time he actually has a real decision.
Yeah, and to me, the decision is not necessarily just about this turn bet. It is also about what's our plan on the river? How do we reframe this hand? We did not expect this. We did not expect the check raise. But what is he doing this with, and how will he treat the river? Now, John Phan, body language-wise, almost acting as if he's deciding between going all in and folding. Normally, if you're trying to maintain composure to perhaps make a call, would perhaps see some different body language.
What do you think he's going to do here, Remco?
I think he's ultimately going to fold, and I think he created this quote-unquote mess for himself. Because what value is he getting on the turn from which kinds of hands? Unlikely to be scared of a flush draw. It's unlikely that Meche has an ace. But now you're almost playing for stacks, because what if he does have an ace, you know, as far as the range goes? That's why the turn bet is almost futile in a way. You're not making more money off of weaker hands, and you're not getting rid of stronger hands. And you're not bluffing either, because you have a pair of jacks. So I think this comes down to game plan. And right now, it looks as though John a little flustered perhaps, or surprised by the check raise.
Like, I haven't seen John around in a long time, but he used to be, literally, one of the best at reading other players. So, I mean...
and to John's credit, if he makes a move here, the check raise from a Meche is fairly strange too. You would not expect to see that. So he could have a very weak holding. The problem is he's going to turn over an ace
like
every
king,
now and then.
King, queen with Flush draw high.
Oh, please show it,
Check.
please. Please show it, Memechik.
Yeah,
please.
Memechik has to show the
Flush draw,
9-7. That is mandatory right now.
No.
Put him on tilt. That's the way to do it.
However, Tony Dunst always tells me never show your hand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would just love to show John that hand. if
Absolutely.
That was Memechik.
Good day.
Thanks, man.
There's a time and a place for it, if you
Almost
ask me.
it, but
This was the time.
And he won't find out until how long? 30 minutes later? Is it a
I
delay?
think we're on a about
good
45-minute
hand.
delay.
Okay,
So.
45 minutes.
Hello, dear.
Big.
All right, so John Phan down to 6.2 million. Chuck Ward on 3.6, still our short stack.
Wow.
First, you got Matt Savage in the booth with me here. My name is Remco Rinkema. Thank you for joining Venetian Poker Live during this action-packed summer of poker in Las Vegas. Again, going back in time, we now all say, you know, the summer in Vegas, the summer WSOP. That wasn't always the case, and why did that change?
I was a tournament director in 2002, 3, and 4. We were in May, and it was actually nice. It was pleasant to be there. Yeah, it was. I think that they changed it when they moved it, you know, down the street to the Rio, and you know, it was because summer is definitely a slower time of year, and it makes a lot more sense. All right, he's moving all in. Ward's moving all in for 3.65 with King Queen offsuit.
Great move here by Ward, all in. Put the decision with your opponents, and for him, picking up the blinds and antes has tremendous value.
When John does fold quickly once, this is good.
That was quickly for him. So nice pickup here for Ward. He gets another free round of poker. So then 05, things move to the Rio.
So 05, things moved to the Rio, but they did actually have the final table at Vinny and Torship.
Final 3 tables.
Final 3 tables, yes. I remember Greg Raymer made it to those final 3 tables, so he got to go back after he won in 2004 to do that. So
the reason why I remember that is because in the early days of the podcast that I would do with Donnie, one of the things that I always brought up was they should have kept that. The final 3 tables, back to the old school. You know, there was something about that mystique that still makes those old broadcasts have some additional flair, if you will.
absolutely. Here he goes again.
Nice.
This time with ace deuce.
I like it.
Spades.
Ward applying the pressure. He's got, quote unquote, nothing to lose, given the fact that he is the short stack. Of course, you want to make the best decision possible, but ICM, not a concern for him. Now, for those keeping track at home, with the big line ante at 400K, there's $1 million to pick up just by going all in and getting no callers. But he is likely going to get looked up here. Rzentkowski finds pocket 8s in the small blind, and 5-handed dynamics with these shallower stack sizes. That's a really strong hand.
$4,650,000.
4 point how much?
It is half a stack there.
Half a stack for Rzentkowski.
And he has to think
I
that
said
he's
4.650.
4.6. He'll be flipping a lot of the time.
4.650, I already said. 4.650.
I'm a nit. I'd probably fold this.
My math was right.
There you
yeah.
go.
There we go. Rzentkowski
Yeah,
all in over the top.
yeah.
The Freitas with pocket
Come on,
5s
boys.
gets out of the way. We got ace deuce suited versus pocket 8s.
There you go.
And Rzentkowski with a good chance here to reduce this field to its final 4. Chuck Ward doubled up on the second hand of play.
Yeah, he's shipping every hand.
At bucket 5.
Excuse me, on the 4th hand of play, and now looking for another double up. So we have a player at risk here. 10 million chips in the middle. Rzentkowski would be up to 15.5 million and take the chip lead if his 8s manage to hold up. Let's see the flop. And we've got 7, 10, 9, 2 clubs, backdoor spades available to Ward, but he is looking for an ace. Chuck Ward, 16% to survive here.
6 of heart, game over.
Turn card. The deuce of hearts, adding some outs. An ace or a deuce. As you can see, the deuce of diamonds has been folded.
Get the wrong one.
So 4 outs now for Ward to survive. Otherwise, he will be our 5th place finisher. Can he find it? He cannot. It's the queen of clubs on the river, and Chuck Ward will receive $39,900 for finishing in 5th place.
Good game, son.
And we are down to the final 4, who are now guaranteed $53,000. So nice little pay raise for all the remaining players. Excellent ROI on the $1,000 investment.
Good luck, guys.
And we have a new chip leader in town.
Good call there.
Now, you wouldn't have had those chips.
Exactly. I would not have had those chips.
All right, Chuck Ward eliminated. We are down to 4. If you're listening to my voice, all you have to do to show some love here, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Join us on both the Venetian Poker Live and the Poker Go channel. We'll take you all the way until we have a winner, as Lee Rzentkowski from Milwaukee, Wisconsin is our tournament chip leader. And Rzentkowski now with an opportunity to take control of this final table. Obviously, John Phan and De Freitas with very similar stacks, so ICM pressure coming into play a lot more now. Next pay jump worth $20,000.
Now raises to 800,000. Now there's the big blind antes out there now. It's 400,000. You know, it's substantial to just win that. And you know, there's a lot of people in this industry. Not a lot. There are some people that say they would want the big blind ante to be reduced when you get down to a certain level of players. What do you think about that?
That's what the nits would say.
Yes.
And
they used to do that here, by the way.
Right. So I personally believe that the goal of the tournament is to reach a champion. And I think that part of poker is to find a way to, you know, be aggressive and play your hands and not to wait for cards in hopes you win a hand. So the chess element of poker, to me, comes into play when you're forced to make actions. When you're not forced to make actions, you're not playing poker. So I love the fact that percentage-wise, it's perhaps a bit of a tougher pill to swallow, but I think that it adds a fun dynamic to the game.
Absolutely. And I am vehemently opposed to ever reducing that. And every time anybody's ever brought that up to me, I've always been against it because I think it does. You know, it adds something to the pot. It gives the game more action. And I actually think it makes the structure better because more people are getting eliminated, and that means the average big blinds is higher. And therefore, I don't ever think it needs to be reduced, and I am totally opposed to it. But let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. I think that the big blind ante is too big when you get down to a shorter amount. And there are those, like Matt Waxman, who tells me all the time that big blind ante ruined poker, where I think the absolute opposite, that it really enhanced the game.
I think so too. Another thing that I feel pretty strongly about, no matter what the buy-in of the tournament is, I think that when you get to heads-up play, the blind levels should be shortened. I think that heads-up play and I've covered thousands of tournaments, heads-up play is something that most players aren't familiar with, and you get into a lot of situations where players simply just wait for good cards, and they are able to because the structure is built for 9-handed or 7 or 8-handed play.
Well, the World Poker Tour, which is going on outside of this room right here, right now, has reduced heads-up final tables since the inception. We go from hour-long levels down to 30 minutes heads up because you are playing so many more hands as well. So that's another factor in that as well. But we've always done that, and it's worked out well.
Once again, if you're just joining us, we are live from the Venetian Poker Room, located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops. My name is Remco Rinkema. Matt Savage alongside me in the
You remember, guys, I fed my Bunton.
10-time Poker Hall of Fame nominee. A strange honor, but it would look funny on a placard.
Yeah, exactly. Or on my tombstone.
He's in the ground, but not in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. But a lot of people think, you know, actually, my good friend Mike Norrie says, all you got to do is fake your death. Just go away for 6 or 8 months, come back, and when you come back, you'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. They'll finally see what they've been missing.
Yeah. He says it'd be the big gotcha suckers. But I have to find somewhere where I'd go where I can play golf and you know, it'd have to have good weather. I'm not going anywhere where, you know, where I can really hide out, like North Dakota or something.
I feel like you'll always find a place to play golf.
Yes. I think I'll always find a place to play golf. Yes.
Speaking of golf, we had our cash game here at Venetian Poker Live a couple nights ago, and one of the players at the table had a stat that I did not believe, but I verified it, and he said there's more golf courses in the U.S. than there are McDonald's.
There's another whole stack behind
and it's
that
true.
What?
too, I can
Yeah.
see.
Isn't that crazy?
No.
Yes, it is. It is true.
Cannot be true.
Yes, it is.
You leave it. You have to leave it sideways so we all can see it.
So
See, too.
there are
Leave it like this so we
16,000
can
golf
see it.
courses in the U.S. and 13,600 McDonald locations.
Better?
Come
No,
on.
gotta-
That
Isn't
can't be.
isn't that the craziest stat?
That is a crazy
Yeah,
stat.
that's better that way.
And you've probably played.
I
at
don't
mo-
even
pl-
believe
Played
that.
at most of them.
No, I have not. I definitely have not. I have played a lot this summer, though. Poker players have been... The games have been good, let's just say that.
I was gonna bring it up. And I know that whenever I used to do podcasts with Negreanu or other players that also play golf and poker, the high stakes golf questions always came up, and I know that used to even be covered as part of the broadcast as a bit of side fun. But what sort of games have you been into? What sort of names are we playing against?
Now, people have always talked about, what the handicaps are and all this stuff. I don't gamble for very much at the golf course. I don't. I don't gamble for very much, but I do like the competitive side of that. And games vary. At the golf course I play at all the time, Ben Lamb's also a member, and he gambles for way more on the golf course than I ever did. So, there are people that gamble. Phil Ivey, one of our ambassadors for Club Gold, is out there as well. He gambles much bigger than I do, way bigger than I do on the golf course. And for them, it's part of their profession, kind of.
Right.
And yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy a good game, but I'm not betting that much. For me, a bigger small losses anywhere, like $500, something like that.
Still keeping it friendly.
Keeping it friendly.
I mean, the cost of a round of golf alone is
ridiculous.
Is
these
worth
days.
gambling over.
It's sure ridiculous. Absolutely.
Real quick though, top 2 courses in Vegas for those that come to town.
Yeah, I think my course is probably up there, Southern Highlands, and then Shadow Creek is also another one. Summit Club is a new one that I have not yet played, but we'll play soon. But yeah, Southern Highlands, Shadow Creek, the Summit Club, Cascada are probably the top 4.
There you have it. Advice from the man who could probably do a vlog series on Vegas golf courses.
Absolutely.
Was that a lot different back when you first came out here? Was golf always so present?
Yeah, golf was always present, but the Southern Highlands wasn't around until 2001. That was the first year that was there. So, between private and public golf courses, it makes a big difference. We got King 7 versus King 7. Always like to see these hands play out post flop, but
yeah,
De Freitas has moved all in with that King 7.
Yeah, big move from De Freitas.
Get it through.
Very well done here. Very big pickup too.
You're a soccer fan. What's CAM?
So he is from Brazil. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a Brazilian. I want to say. See, I don't want to get this wrong. I want to say Corinthians.
He's got a dirty stack there in the front. So I've been to Brazil. I did a poker tournament down there, and I did a poker tournament at a place called Camboriú.
Okay.
Could that be Camboriú or not? We're going to look it up.
It's funny. Juventus is the first jersey people think of
Thank
when
you.
they see the black and white stripes.
Yeah.
But I know that that's not Juventus. So now I have to have someone in the chat tell me that I was
What is
wrong on this.
CAM?
Oh, Atletico Mineiro, I think is. That's what it is. Atletico Mineiro.
Atletico Mineiro.
See, the game of soccer.
See, I don't understand soccer at all. But Atletico Numero?
Atletico Mineiro.
See Tim Duckworth in the chat.
We have so much going on.
Yes, absolutely. Busy time for poker.
Exactly.
In Las Vegas. De Freitas now with 9s raises to 1 million. John Phan with King 5. You're into solver streets. Are you looking at solvers these days?
Honestly, I'm a field-based solver player.
Okay.
So I assess and assume what the solver would do based on what I've heard around me, if that makes any sense to you.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm definitely leaning more towards the studied approach, but not because I have studied, but because I've listened to a lot of people that have. So, you know, funny small examples of that are things like, you know, the value of small pocket pairs has diminished since they've started quote-unquote solving things. On the contrary, the value of the suited ace has gone up tremendously. So small things like that I have picked up on, but, you know, within my job.
This is a hand that Tony Dunst and I talk about all the time, King 5.
Right.
As a hand that years ago would have been just instantly mocked, but now, for some reason, King 5 is a good hand to raise with. I'm not sure why.
It's not a flip.
Maybe you can explain.
I folded bottom. I folded a small blind.
I think that the fact that you have an overcard against every pair except for aces with King 5, that already gives the hand so much more value. Similarly, why a hand like Ace Deuce is so strong nowadays, because the ace being better than pocket kings once you hit it, just gives the hand a lot more playability.
Meche folds his 6-4. Now to John Phan. He's moving all in. All in for 6,450,000. Sounds he folded. He's got King 9 suited. And that will get it done. A quick fold from De Freitas. John Phan now being the short stack. Started the day as the big stack, but the blinds are high. We've now gone to 250, 500K with a 500K big blind ante. Meche now with Queen 5, he folds. 2008 Player of the Year, John Phan. 17 years ago. And Rzentkowski with Jack 10 suited. Are we saying that name correctly, Rzentkowski? Are there any Rzentkowski fans out there? Or is it Rzentkowski? Is the R silent? Let us know.
2 million?
Rzentkowski raises to 2 million. Freitas folds. And Rzentkowski will get this pot. $144,000 for first place. If you ever have any rules questions, feel free to reach out. I'm usually on X at Savage Poker, but happy to answer all of those questions. Rzentkowski now with 2 5s. And he raises to 1 million. Now De Freitas now with kings.
Call.
He does call.
How much, please?
1 million.
Meche now with Queen 9. Considering what to do here. Now, De Freitas just called with his kings after Rzentkowski raised to 1 million. And Meche also makes the call. So 3 players in this pot as we'll go to the flop De Freitas with the kings. And look at this flop, Remco.
Wow.
Open-ended for Mameche.
And now De Freitas probably scratching his head. One of the worst flops you can see when holding pocket kings. All those 10, 8, 10, 7, 10, 9, or 7s, 8s, 10s type hands within the realm of possibility for your opponents. And it gets checked to the initial raiser here, 3.5 million in the middle.
1.8.
And Rzentkowski is just going to continue here.
1.8. 1,800,000.
Action on the Freitas with 8.7 million remaining. I don't think he's ever going to fold, but how we're going to continue is going to be interesting. Oh, there it comes.
Wow.
Comes with the check raise.
5.9.
5.9 million.
Mameche was hoping to just get his chips in there to see if he could make the straight now. He's facing what would put him all in, I believe, or close to it. No, not all in, but a big portion of his stack. And you can see the consternation on his face. He would have loved to seen a turn card there.
And this is one of those situations where, you know, if you're being honest with yourself, 6 million with the open-ended straight draw is not a feasible and profitable strategy. I think this is more so just frustration over wanting to play this hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you have the queen. Additionally, that if a jack were to fall, it'd be the absolute nuts. It is a rainbow flop as well, which is another consideration. But as you were saying, I think he's got to get rid of this hand. But he's going to hate it.
I mean, that's a big thing in poker, you know. More often than not, you hate whatever the situation is you find yourself in. But this is no time to be a hero for Mameche. He's got a really healthy stack. And Queen Jack on this board simply doesn't give you any sort of positive outlook.
He folds, and De Freitas is going to win the pot, which is turning out to be a fantastic raise, because for that bet from Rzentkowski, he was probably going to get a call from Mameche.
Right. The only sort of thought that I have here is that in this scenario, it turns out okay, but you do let the big blind in for nothing, almost nothing. Very good pot odds for Mameche to call and make this three-handed. At the same time, if you are up against a strong high card holding, let's say Rzentkowski has a king-queen suited, let's say Mameche has king-queen suited, you lose out on a chance to get the money in because they would have to hit a specific flop to continue. So given the stack depth here, I would much prefer to build a larger pot before the flop.
Thank you.
But either way, De Freitas is right because he is the chip leader now, 14 million chips. As we're now playing 250K, 500K with the 500K big blind ante. The largest stack is 28 bigs. If John Phan doubles, he would be the largest stack to give an indication of how tight this battle is. It's going to come down to cards and a bit of luck here, this final table. Once again, Matt Savage joining me in the booth here at World Poker Tour has arrived back at Venetian today, day 1A of the main event. But you guys are also doing a bit of a celebrity cash game action.
Yes.
Tell the people what they can expect.
I'm not exactly sure who the entire lineup is yet, but I know that Alex Botez will be here. Chess Grandmaster, right? She's been on some of your shows.
Before, yeah,
well, has she not?
Botez has been on a variety of cash game shows.
Before.
And I think I think it's Botez and friends. She's bringing a variety of her friends to play
Pocket
Sounds like a game you might want to play in.
Yes, if I can borrow some money, Matt, I would love to partake.
Well, Donnie may have some extra money. Maybe he'll put you in that.
That's true.
A jam before the flop.
That stream will happen on
of
July the
course.
14th, and
jam.
Magnus Carlsen, the best chess player of all time, also featured along with influencer Bryce Hall and Sarah Safari, Zach Justice, and David Lade.
Magnus Carlsen is a real celebrity, is he not?
That's a true celebrity, yes,
Yeah.
in the truest form. Carlsen, who also played in the WSOP main event,
He
I
wasn't
want
the
to
one
say
with
last year.
He wasn't the one accused of any
No,
scandals.
no, you're thinking of Hans Niemann.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, those were just allegations.
Those are just allegations,
And
yes.
gossip.
No facts behind it.
I see. I don't know. I'm not that deep in the chess world, but I caught wind of that little controversy.
Meche now. Queen 10 raises to 1 million.
Yeah, and 1 million now, the minimum raise, which is always a funny time in the tournament where you're not even able to bet less than $1 million. John Phan in the small blind with 7-5 of hearts. More of a first level type hand, not necessarily a final table hand.
You might say posturing.
Oh, absolutely. For the World Poker Tour this week, are there any player names, any perhaps notables that you're expecting to see here as we see Rzentkowski with King Queen?
I would imagine anybody that's still in town would be a part of this event. It's a chance to put your name on the Mike Sexton Champions Cup, something that only about 300 people have ever done, and 4 million guarantee for a 5K buy-in is, like I said, a great prize pool to be had. So I would expect pretty much everybody in town to be here. 8833 on the board. Rzentkowski in the lead with King High.
And again, a check from Rzentkowski with King High. I wonder if Rzentkowski thinks that King High is going to be good here some of the time if Memeche does decide to bet. I know we're dealing with shallow stacks. Memeche also cannot afford a misstep, and we see this hand check to the river, and there's a full house on board.
Are you one of those guys that likes to do crazy things here and like shove?
Well,
just to try and pick up the pot.
in this case, you probably could. Nothing indicates that your opponent has a big pocket pair.
Right.
But in some cases, even though the board would assume a split, you could still get crushed in a way.
Yeah.
Obviously, pair of nines here would have taken it.
And where is Memeche from?
From France.
Oh, it's from France. Okay.
He is. His first name is Simone Memeche.
Thank you.
This is by far his largest result already. Only 13,000 in career earnings on the live felt. We are dealing with a wide variety of players as we look at the Bat Beat Barrel promotion running all year round here inside the Venetian Poker Room. Any aces full of king's hand beaten by a better hand in any qualifying promotional cash game, and you will select a Bat Beat Barrel cash prize envelope from our drawing drum. Prizes range from $250 up to $5,000. Official rules available inside the Venetian Poker Room. And on that note, right next to the drink station here inside the poker room, there's a whole wall that has promotions, tournament structures, tournament schedules, everything else you might be interested in. So when you come play here, read up on the most current promotions and upcoming tournaments.
That was already a highlight of the Venetian Poker Room when I walked in here and saw the soda station.
Oh, beautiful.
Amazing. Like, I don't see that you drink soda anymore, the way you look.
Oh, Coke Zero is still allowed.
Okay, it is. All right. Tim Duckworth's favorite drink. He always talks about it.
It is the best Coke available. If Coke wants to sponsor the show, please get in touch.
The fact that they have Coke here is amazing because so many places in town use Pepsi, and I'm just a big, big fan of the Coca-Cola.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. For us Europeans, it's always a funny thing when you come to the U.S. for the first time and you order a Coke, and they say, we don't have that, we just have Pepsi, which in Europe is not a thing. When you say you want a Coke, you get whatever they have.
Oh, do you?
So you
Okay.
get a Coke or a Pepsi because the Coke is like that encompasses all those brands.
There's a few of those out there. Like, what's another one? Tissue. I think Tissue is another one.
Okay.
That's actually a brand and not. Kleenex.
Kleenex, yes, that's a good
sorry.
one. That's a good one.
Kleenex, that's it.
Did you know, by the way, I'm sure you've been to Italy and France, when you see the little tin, what looks like napkin holders on the table, the little flimsy, super thin, almost like useless little napkins, those are not napkins.
They are.
But people think that those are napkins. I think they are to pick things up from the table, and there's always people like, well, these napkins don't pick up anything. No, but you can actually ask for a napkin and they give you a cloth one, which is a bit different. Also, no ice in Europe in your drinks.
Ice is on short supply.
I'm
I have
sure,
definitely noticed that.
I'm sure you've noticed that.
I always ask for more ice whenever I'm in France. I love France. It's a beautiful country. Good friend Bruno Fatoussi, if you're out there watching.
Rzentkowski with another button raise. He's been very active on the button. And right now, DeFreitas with ace-4 off, perhaps contemplating an aggressive move to shut this thing down right here. Calling from the small with ace-4 is just opening yourself up to some trouble potentially. You'd much rather have the initiative yourself. And John Phan, meanwhile, on 7.5 million, is just sort of hanging around.
Another one that Tony's taught me all about. The old ace-5. Why is ace-5 such a good hand?
Can make a wheel.
These days.
Exactly.
king-3.
This table, I like the fact that he gave up quickly here. This table tension going up as we're guaranteed 53,000 with 144,000 up top. One misstep and you're on your way out the door. And you're just so close to the big payout.
Absolutely. Do they allow deals here? Or discussions of deals?
They do.
Oh, they do.
They do, yes. I do believe they have to leave something to play for, which I also think is completely reasonable.
We have that rule on the World Poker Tour that they are allowed to make deals, but the first place has to win the most money.
That makes sense. Yes, that makes sense.
And we also have seats into our World Championship as well, which will be held later this year.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. What does the rest of the calendar look like for the World Poker Tour?
We've got a lot coming up. I'm going from here. Actually, I'm going to go the day after this tournament. I'm actually going for a TDA meeting in Taiwan, and then I'm going to go to Singapore. But right when I come back from there, I'm going to be flying back out to Cyprus. We're going to have an event in Cyprus. We have an event coming up in Taiwan next month as well. We are going back to Australia. And then back to Seminole Hard Rock again, and another event in Thailand, and the final end of season will be at a property next door.
Right,
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that here.
I mean, Vegas is
yeah, in Las Vegas.
In Las
yes.
Vegas, that's
in Las Vegas
covers it. But that's an action-packed calendar.
It is an action-packed calendar. I'm excited to get back on the road. I haven't been on the road much this year. Last year I was traveling about 7 months, but this year it's been a little more calm, which is fine. It's been nice to be home here in Vegas for some time. John Phan now calls with the Jack-7 suited. Ace, Queen 9 on the flop, a rainbow flop. Nines, bottom pair for DeFreitas.
Yeah, and John Phan, as I said, hasn't really had any premium holdings. Just looking to maneuver around a little bit. I wonder if he has a game plan for this flop, and it looks as though he's going to decide to lead here for just 500K. And, oh, look at this. If I've ever seen a deterrent to keep on betting,
right,
is the snap call.
Yes, exactly. And now a 10 on the turn, now open-ended for John Phan.
And well, DeFreitas picking up 2 pair. And Phan might think that this is a good spot for him to continue now that he's drawing both ways. And decides to check, hoping to perhaps see a free river card, but De Freitas reaching immediately.
18. 1.8. Yeah. 1800.
1.8 million is the bet. And Pham now with 8 outs to a straight, but they're not clean outs because those hearts, not something you can rely on.
It's funny when De Freitas said that, I think he said 18?
1800, yeah.
Yeah. We get those rulings all the time. And, you know, poker is such an international game, and English is, you know, while it's the accepted language through the TDA, but also the local language, it makes those decisions when you get called to the table a lot more difficult. Obviously, in this case, what he said was 1.8 million, obviously. So luckily, John is not challenging that.
John Phan, as I mentioned, with outs to the straight. 2 of those outs are not very clean. At the same time, it's about a half pot size bet here to see a river card, but the stacks are so shallow that he cannot, in good conscience, continue here. And De Freitas now up to 16.2 million. 10 bigs for, or just shy of 11 bigs for John Phan, the razor.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so bad. Let you steal it. Almost jam pre-flop. Buddy? Almost jam pre-flop. Nice hand.
In case you're just tuning in, it's the final table of the 1K Seniors event at Venetian.
You didn't.
Kicking off a week of World Poker Tour action.
Huh? Yeah? That's a good choice, huh?
World Poker Tour
Well, I'll give you
is
extra
back
life yesterday.
at Venetian.
A lot of
5K
hands
buy-in,
should've
4
been
million
out.
guarantee. Final table streaming a week from now. Before that, there's a celebrity cash game with the likes of Alexandra Botez and Magnus Carlsen. Carlsen, who's played the WSB main event in the past, loves himself a game of poker from time to time. And much love to the chat, everyone. A little different destination for me today. Just as happy to call this action. We all know that, you know, the biggest events of the year are all happening in Las Vegas right now. We're all sweating the action. I got Donnie Peters in the mix. I don't have a piece, but I care just as much about his result.
How did you not get a piece?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I have a rule that I started back in. Oh, let's see what happens here before I delve into a story about my gambling past. Rzentkowski with a nice pickup here. No, this must have been 2010 or 11. I had a chance to buy a piece of a player who ended up winning a massive online event. And my piece that I was offered would have been worth $50,000.
Wow.
Okay. And for me, that would have been life-changing money. Sure. I was good friends with this player. I ended up declining the piece because I was already buying a lot of pieces elsewhere. So I said no to him and yes to others, and one of them won and one of them didn't. I decided in that moment that from then on out, I was always going to say no to everyone. Okay. Because at least that way, I could never tell myself that I missed out. Right? And obviously, there have been some misses along the way, but if I just think of all the times that I would have been right, then I might have broken even in the long run.
I actually bought a piece of somebody that played in this senior event.
Oh, great.
I beat somebody on the golf course, and we parlayed it into this tournament. He did not cash, but he had a bunch of chips at the end of the day. You suck, Mike Beasley. How could you do that?
Now, I have to ask you, what's been the best piece you ever bought?
I don't really buy pieces of people very often, and it was actually a long, long time ago. The original Tournament of Champions. Have you ever heard of that
Yes,
tournament?
absolutely.
Basically the tournament that started the World Poker Tour, because Steve Lipscomb ran this event called the Tournament of Champions, hosted by Mike Sexton. It was his idea. It was his brainchild. And I had the player that finished in 5th place, a guy that has since left us, but a guy named Dick Corpus, a guy that I always consider the best reader of players that I've ever seen in my life, up until I saw Lane Flack in 2002. But he won 38,000, and I had 50%, which was very nice. Especially that back then, that was life-changing money too for me.
Right. I mean, you can have a nice parlay if you get the right piece.
So you had the opportunity to have a piece of Donnie.
I didn't even ask.
Okay.
I didn't even ask, and he knows that I don't buy pieces.
Okay. He knows the story. All right,
Yeah.
Rzentkowski with ace-9. We do not know what John has, but he did raise to 1 million. Rzentkowski with the fold there of the ace-9. Do you like that fold?
Ace-9 in the muck from the Freitas.
No, right, Rzentkowski.
Oh, Rzentkowski. Honestly, I don't. I think that given his chip position, aggression is always recommended in this kind of spot.
And he had position in the pot.
Yeah, I think that you should always be raising in that situation. These players have been playing for 2 long days leading up to this point. I wonder if the fatigue is starting to creep in a little bit. I mean, these are seniors after all.
Seniors,
Push my follow.
They should have extra breaks, nap time.
Thank you.
I used to make jokes all the time about senior events, and now that I am one, I'm not making those jokes anymore.
Frankie asking in the chat, where's
There we
JRB?
go again.
JRB always headlining our cash
Easy
games
blind.
along with Brian Oken and friends.
Not really.
Easy blind.
The next cash game
Not
with
really.
those boys
Easy
coming
blind.
up in a few
I
weeks.
can see it.
I can give you a little update on the upcoming Venetian Poker Live streaming schedule. The WPT cash game happening on July the 14th. Then the final table of the World Poker Tour on the 17th. We have an ultimate stack final table with a 750K guaranteed, which you can
It's
play
time.
if you're watching this on July 19th, and then another ultimate stack final table on the 22nd, and then the cash game is back on the 23rd. 100, 200, 20K minimum buy-in. And the Fridays with ace-3 suited
This time.
makes it 1 million. John Phan nursing the short stack. Has a very nice 10-9 suited in the big blind. Given the way the table has played, he could consider peeling and then going for the all-in check raise, since the Freitas has been known to take stabs at the flop.
These pink chips are 100K, and the black chips are 25K.
I love this chip set.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Beautiful colors.
That's the other rumor out there that I've started this fad of tournament staff coloring down the chip stacks to next to nothing.
You're sitting next to the right guy to have that conversation with. But this is exactly the type of situation that I was thinking of. John Phan flopping an open-ended straight draw. I know it's a paired board. I know there's a flush draw. But given how tight these players have been, if the Freitas takes a very small stab here, I would love. Oh, and look at this. John Phan looking at his own stack, maybe thinking of leading here.
700,000.
Oh, it comes with 700.
I mean, he'd like to win it right here.
Now, the Freitas must be thinking, would he ever lead with a jack? Would he ever lead with a queen? What sort of hands would he prefer leading with over potentially check raising? That's probably what's going through his mind. Now, in this specific case, the Freitas has nothing going for him. No backdoor draws, no connectivity with the board whatsoever. But it is only 700K into 2.7 million.
If you have something, you lost the chance to double up.
Yeah?
Yeah, because
You're calling, right?
yeah, pre-flop.
There it is.
I still lose. You still do runner. I mean,
So John Phan actually
Maybe.
taking the right approach here.
Maybe.
Taking a little stab on the flop, resulting in him.
And as you said, De Freitas said the same thing.
Yep.
He didn't He had a chance if he had something.
Yes. Now,
Play safe.
valuable information for future
You
reference.
still get runner, so
Definitely good information for the future.
you
All right, so
still get
still
runner.
four-handed. 53K guaranteed for the final four.
1 million.
Meche makes it to 1 million now.
$1 million. John Phan looking at his cards before putting him on the reader every single time. The evolution there also quite fascinating. The old lipstick cameras used to be the only way to get the whole cards as part of the broadcast. And I know from talking to Maury Eskandani, they used to have all those camera feeds. They had to sync up with the footage. And John Phan now all in for 7.4 million. The first time we've seen him shove at this final table, and it's hand 48. So this must be quite significant. What a significant hand. Matt, give me some ranges here. What is John Phan going to show here?
He has ace something.
I can't be bluffed.
I don't know what exactly he has, but I believe he has ace something. And I don't. What do you think he has?
So I think it's at the very least a suited ace, or if it's not suited, it's at least ace 10, ace jack. Also, as far as
I
pocket
was thinking ace 10, but
ace 10. Yeah, I think as far as pocket pairs go, probably at least sixes or sevens at the very least. Meche not really with the decision here. John Phan has
Now you have, huh?
been very tight, and he doesn't have a great hand. Lots of posturing at this final table. Lots of Hollywooding. It's like we're traveling back in time.
And you see the triangle next to John Phan. That's another interesting story about the triangle. The all-in button and how it started.
Sit down.
I'm going to assume
Do it.
it became a triangle because the round shape was too confusing
I get
with the
too,
button.
nervous.
I brought these triangles to Asia.
Oh.
I bought them myself.
Oh, he's getting him pocket fives.
Fives.
Wow.
Whoa.
A little on the looser side here, but
Yeah.
I do think it's the right move. His image is good for it, and he needs the chips desperately.
Wow. So I brought these triangles. I bought them at a local company here in Las Vegas called Spinetti's that makes
This is crazy,
dealer
yeah.
buttons and things like that. And I brought them to Asia, and when the first ever tournament
drinking,
was in
man.
Macau, I ran that tournament. And as I left those buttons behind because they wanted to use them for some other tournaments that they had locally. And when I went back to Asia, because I went back to the Philippines and to Korea and different places, everywhere I went, the all-in button was a triangle. And so now in Asia, this is like a carve-out of the Tournament Directors Association, which they also use. If you hold up the triangle sign, it means you're all in.
That's phenomenal. I did not know that.
I explained this to the guy that took over for me at the Asian Poker Tour back in the day. And he's all, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, they hold up a triangle to say that they're all in. And now John Phan with the ace 8.
Well,
Raise 1.2 million.
And this could be the turning point for John Phan.
The switch has been flipped. Oh, DeFreitas.
Oh, and the quick all-in, too.
I like that. He just didn't take any time.
I mean, we have no time to waste. The blinds are now 300, 600.
John Phan is going to waste some time here, but he will end up folding, I believe. Is that a tell from DeFreitas, would you say?
It's funny, right? Because it doesn't really matter because DeFreitas perceives his hand to be strong, right?
Correct.
So it only matters what John Phan has. It doesn't matter what DeFreitas has. Because he could be all in with with pocket deuces, but if he feels happy about it, that's
Yeah.
Gamble or no?
it's about perceived hand strength.
That
I
makes some
never
sense.
gamble.
See you game a lot yesterday.
If you need
wrong.
an opinion, gamble.
One player to a hand. Mehmetçik.
It's one of the reasons why they often
You
say
got it. Nice hand.
when you bluff, think to yourself and tell yourself in your mind
What's another
that
one?
you
I
have
need
the
one
nuts.
more.
There you go.
So close.
Close. Oh.
Every time it's close. Oh, this guy. Every time it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time he's a hand.
It's funny that poker has, you know, if you go to France,
I'm going all
you
hand.
don't
What do
see
you
a lot of
go all
English
hand?
spoken.
Try
And
there,
if you
all
go
with no hand.
to Brazil, you
Right?
you don't hear anything
Am
but
I right?
Portuguese.
Right.
Try go all
But
with no hand.
poker has really
Huh? Tell me
transcended
who does that?
people to speak different languages. It's really kind of a great aspect of the game.
The Freitas in the lead, and
Guys, I'm committed.
Mehmetçik, by the way,
Oh,
was the chip leader and has since been folding his way all the way down to 7.7 million. He was up to 13 million at one point. Now in a bit of trouble here as the short stack.
And he said he was committed. But that's not going to...
That's not binding.
it's going to stop. It's not going to stop John from raising here. With 7-6 suited.
1.225.
Oh, he's committed.
That's getting.
Yeah.
He's running so cold that he has to put the jacket on.
He's putting jacket in his backpack.
And he may.
1.225.
He is. He's kept his word. He's kept his word.
Committed to at least see a flop. The two short stacks going at it, Rzentkowski and DeFreitas, would love to see a larger clash here as ace, queen, 6 rolls off the deck. Phan pairing is 6. And this is one of those situations where what you can accomplish by
7.
betting is not necessarily that useful. Because you're going to
Easy,
lose to an
I see
ace
the-
or a
see the
queen
trend,
anyway.
yeah.
You're very
You're
short
ace.
stacked. You're dancing the
Ace high
tightrope, and you have paired your 6, which of course is ahead against all the high cards. Now John
Thought
Phan
you
will
were
feel
going
good
all in,
about
that's
shutting it
why.
down here, but he is taking a risk because what if DeFreitas comes along with a queen? What if
I
he
would put
called
it
from the big line with a
after
small
one or
ace?
before whatever.
You're
Use
just
that
building
like
a
you
pot
do.
even though you don't really have a hand, and there's no stack depth. You have such few chips to play with.
So he has to bet though, right? I mean, you're not opposed to him betting that.
I
Continuing and representing an ace or representing.
I just think that the risk-reward ratio just doesn't work in your favor because you're going to get action from better hands, but you want to keep the pot small because you're already so short-stacked. You don't have a hand that can improve. You just have a pair of 6s on ace, queen, 6.
Yeah, we don't want to play
So
basketball.
I'm happy
Not at this point.
to be wrong here, but given the scenario,
nobody
given the
know
pay
X
jumps, given the
and
stack
the
sizes,
flash
I would
card.
play this more conservatively
Accident
because I think
flash
that
card.
you're often going to get action from
One thing about the
only from better
WSOP,
hands.
stop playing
We're
with,
after
like,
3 and 600,000 now.
1.2 million.
DeFreitas makes it 1.2. Mehmetçik now. This looks like a potential all-in shove. You've got to get some chips here at this point. I don't know. What does the solver say here?
Get someone on the phone, Matt.
No, what about me? What about the razor?
It's not heads up, okay? Please.
That's right. Mehmetçik is right. John Phan should not be trying to influence action here when there's 3 players in the pot.
Obviously, we're watching this on a delay, so we're seeing this as you guys at home are seeing it. But how funny would it be if you had a button where you could speak to the room?
You can speak now.
He can speak now. That is correct.
That's not
John doesn't
He's
like
looking at
that,
my
but
chip
he
when I'm not
knows
looking at my card yet.
what Memechi's
Yeah,
saying
look
is
over
correct.
there, he's raising you. You worry about him, don't worry about me.
No.
I haven't looked at my card yet.
Yeah, doesn't matter,
I
John.
don't even know what I had.
Memechi's right.
You worry about something
you.
that...
Luca in the chat
Have a good day.
asking
Thank you.
how long is this table going to last approximately? Well, until we are done. And I would be surprised if these guys last 2 more hours given the structure. But real quickly here, Venetian running promos all year round. This is the Card of the Month promo. So read the details on your screen and give yourself a chance to win either $500 or $250 via this Card of the Month promotion. Official rules available inside the Venetian Poker Room. They have promotions of this kind running all year round. Venetian Poker Room located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops. You can park on the Palazzo side and just take the elevator up to level 2, and you're literally right there, which is phenomenal.
And if you haven't had a
Yeah,
chance to
have
see
fun.
this
You
room,
can
it's
play.
beautiful.
Oh, it's stunning.
Very
Have
beautiful.
fun. Fun
No,
again.
no
Fun
worry,
again.
no worry. I'm a
Don't
fan.
take
The
it
blue
too
felt
fast.
really
The rule, you can speak with
is a
friend,
favorite of
free
mine.
player. I'm
I
a
like
fan. No
the
worry.
not having a lot of
Now everybody's happy
extra
now,
things
no
on the
matter.
felt that you can hide chips
Win,
or
lose,
cards
fun,
or
fun
all of those
drinking.
things.
Yeah,
And
not drinking, not fair.
I've had people tell me that when they have the very busy felt, they actually use that as a angle to hide
have to be
bets and
1.2.
hide things,
Huh.
which is really terrible. But it's something that's allowed because of the situation of having a very busy felt. So you're right. These blue felts are beautiful. And John Phan now, he's going to get looked up no matter what he does here, so he's got to be careful.
All in one.
There he goes. He called for the all-in button. The John Phan rule.
wow. And John Phan with poor timing, he's going to run into
got 9?
Ace-King suited. Does
What?
he have a hand that
Jack, loose, 6.
can go up against this?
I gotta set it up. We have a way we set things up.
So John's cards have not hit the scanner, so we're going to get the manual entry here to find out what he
believe
has.
jacks. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Let's have jacks. So
We got a real coin flip on our hands.
Jack, deuce.
does have the jack of clubs. What do you nerds call that? A blocker?
I mean, it's not a blocker in that sense, but it definitely blocks the opportunities to make a flush. And Phan here with jacks out in front on the 10 deuce 5 with 2 diamonds. DeFreitas looking for an ace or a king. Or John Phan will double up to 19.5 million. Oh!
Motherfucker.
Ace on the river. And John Phan
Good game, man.
will exit the tournament in 4th place.
Good game, my friend.
DeFreitas wins a monster coin flip to go up to 27 million. And this is a tournament-defining coin flip.
Okay.
That ace on the river making DeFreitas the hot favorite to take this thing down, as the Razor, who doesn't want to leave, will take home $53,000 as we look at
Wow.
the payouts here. Wow.
That's a tough one for John Phan.
What a river card. 73K guaranteed for the final 3. And look, John Phan is still sitting there.
He doesn't want to leave. I don't blame him. That was a tough one.
A tough pill to swallow indeed for the most successful player at this final table.
Sure, we'll see him again in this studio, as he is.
He might already be playing again.
He might already be playing again.
All right, so 3 players left to battle for the top prize of $144,000. No matter how you spin this, this is going to be the most significant result of any of these players.
From this point, this is their biggest result for any of these 3 players. Is that what you said?
No, if they win.
If they win,
It
okay.
would be, yes.
Okay.
So Memeche only has 13K in earnings,
I'm
so
sorry.
making this final table for him was already the biggest
The
one.
NTV, okay.
Rzentkowski, actually, I should correct myself. Rzentkowski's biggest score ever, which is funny, is $300 more than first prize.
Oh, wow.
So he's
Okay.
actually going to basically tie his best result ever if he manages to win. He won a MSPT event at Riverside, Iowa back in 2022. MSPT,
Okay.
by the way, coming back to Venetian in the fall as well. So Rzentkowski can basically tie his best result. And then for DeFreitas, our chip leader, his largest cash was 100,000, which, funnily enough, was the 2023 Venetian DeepStack Series Seniors event.
Okay.
Back in 2023. That event had a $1,600 buy-in, and they made a three-way chop, which resulted in the final three players all getting 100,000, and the winner ultimately receiving 110K. So the Fredis, somewhat of a senior event specialist, also cashing both the seniors and the super seniors at the WSOP this year. So
Wow.
he's found his
He's on the senior roll.
he's found his target audience.
I don't want to say it, but people do say that the senior events are very good value.
Yep.
And I know that to be true. I did play 1 year. I was pretty amazed by some of the things that I saw. Oh, look at this. A raise in the 3-bet with 5-3 and 6-5. Then Rzentkowski takes down this pot. I assume we're going to see Mameche shove here soon, being the short stack.
It would be advised to stay ahead of the Pac-Man, the Pac-Man type nature of those blinds and antes.
And again, we're not reducing that big blind ante.
Chancellor Poker in the Venetian Poker live chat is asking me about bicycles, which is funny because I ride those a lot. He's asking, is Specialized a good bike brand? Yes, it is. If you're in Vegas, go to my best friend Joseph at Swanee Cycles. No free ads, but my buddy Joseph, he owns a bike shop called Swanee Cycles in Henderson. The best service out there, and they do sell Specialized bikes if you want to give them a look. When's the last time you were on a bicycle, Matt?
I have a bicycle.
Okay.
At the house.
Very nice.
I have not ridden it in a long time. Now, I have my own golf cart, so
oh,
I
of
take
course.
the golf cart.
That is so American of you. And you live on the golf course?
Close enough
okay,
to where I can take a golf cart, but yes. Yeah, I actually have 2 bicycles in my... Would your friend over at Swanee take barely used bikes?
I mean, he does trade-ins if you want something new. But yeah, if you need help selling it.
All in. Look at the triangle.
The triangle, yes.
The triangle. Mameche's all in with the ace-4 of clubs. And we did call that. It would not be long. And here it is. Kowski folds Jack-8 suited.
Mameche shoving there with ace-4. That is so far ahead of his range to have a hand that strong, right? He's supposed to be shoving much weaker hands in that situation.
But if he doubles up, he'd be leap into second place and nearly first. Yeah. It'd be close at first if he doubles through De Freitas.
It's the sickening nature of tournament play where the final 3 are guaranteed 73K. If you get first, you basically double that to 144. So the next hour or so is going to define whether you're going home with 70K or 140, and he's going to go all in again for 7 million.
Rzentkowski seeing the back-to-back shoves. Oh, he does fold.
King 10.
De Freitas with Queen Jack.
Lisa, I love you.
Saying his farewells. And it's funny how, you shove on back-to-back hands, and people immediately don't give you credit anymore.
Correct.
But it is possible to get good cards on back-to-back hands.
I never played with this before because I never lose.
And he folds.
Thank you.
What kind of card should De Freitas be calling with, in your opinion, on that?
De Freitas
Queen Jack.
No, absolutely not. I think that we're looking at suited aces. I think we're looking at pocket pairs, probably, I don't know, 7s or better.
For De Freitas to call there.
I think so. I think it's simply a situation where you don't have to risk the chips. You can basically, with the big stack, continue to apply pressure.
1.2.
I'm the farthest thing from a poker professional, but I think King Queen.
King Queen I think is fine too. Yeah.
Okay.
King Queen is fine too. Yeah. Queen Jack, I think, is too loose. But I do think that this final table plays a fair bit differently from most that I've seen. A lot of fold equity players not willing to commit their whole stacks. And seeing the back-to-back shoves by Memeche after he did not shove a single hand.
And now with
for
ace-9.
an hour. And now another strong hand. And he can, again, just come right over the top here because Rzentkowski is going to be raising a whole lot more than hands such as he has.
He's up.
There he is. The triangle sign.
All in from Memeche. Again, third time in 4 hands. And
you don't snap call. It's good for me.
That's correct.
This is the kind of table talk I like.
Which is it?
A lot of talk out there about table talk, what should be allowed, what shouldn't be. And it's been a debate since the inception of the TDA. What should you be able to say? And I've always said, you can say anything you want, just do not disclose the contents of your hand. And, you know, that has traveled through the poker universe, and people don't really understand it, even to this day, what you can say and what you can't say about your hand.
Right.
Running hard. Speed up.
So, to play hypotheticals here, I can ask you whether you have a strong hand or not.
Correct.
You just cannot answer the question.
You cannot. You can answer up to the point of yes, no, whatever. You can't say I have ace-9.
But even if you're lying,
that has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it. I just got that question yesterday on X or Twitter. I got asked the same question yesterday. I thought you were okay if you were lying about your hand. No, that's not the case. Because if you're lying about your hand, even then you're giving away information on your own hand. Memeche with 5-3 of hearts.
Don't press the brake.
Yeah, don't press the brake. I like this, guys. I love it. Rzentkowski folds 7-4. And DeFreitas.
I mean, DeFreitas sitting on a mountain here. Just such a good spot for him. And from his perspective, you know, trying to win the tournament, you're much happier just to slowly chip away at both your opponents because it's going to make your chances of winning the whole thing far greater.
Queen Jack suited. No? You still don't like it?
To call a shove or to shove?
Call the shove.
I wouldn't call a shove with Queen Jack suited. No. I think you could be running into too many king highs, ace highs that are shoving. And again, you know, take into account the player that we're facing. Memeche
may give the triangle once again.
Yeah. And I again would recommend it. By the way, he is up to 16 bigs, though, so we do have a little bit more room to play. And we are also no longer the short stack.
Like you said, he's done it 3 of the last 4 hands, so maybe he's not getting the credit, but he did make a raise. And now Rzentkowski with kings.
What a spot for pocket kings. Now, Memeche has been shoving so much that...
That's kind of, if he would have shoved there,
oh,
it would have been a snap call. And now he's probably going to be able to get away with it, or get away from it.
And Rzentkowski moves all in over the top. And of course, you know, Memeche's raise versus shove only a result of the fact that it just has more chips.
He's from this one? Okay.
I'm not totally unimpressed with Memeche's play here, and he only has 13,000 in career earnings. That's interesting.
Yeah,
to me, because he knows.
Seems comfortable.
Yeah, he knows the rules. Rzenkowski's been a lot more on the snug side, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Rzenkowski has been aggressive when first to act, but we haven't seen him make a move like this before. Now, of course, from Memeche's point of view,
No, it's solid. Take your time.
facing a 13 big blind shove with ace-4, I can definitely understand the deliberation here, but
Let me. I need you.
Great microphones in the studio.
oh yeah, excellent.
The technology that you guys have put in here from
It-
Poker Goes.
It's a beautiful setup.
Does let it go. So, is there any value there?
What's the bottom is?
Again, I'm the
There,
amateur here.
right.
Is there any value in there in
me?
Rzenkowski just calling?
Now, you saying that you're just an amateur insinuates that I'm maybe not an amateur,
Yeah.
but I also am paid to talk, not paid to play.
Okay.
But I would say that given this scenario, I think that the jam is going to get a fair bit of action. I think that calling is just an amount of trickery that it's not really called for in this spot. But I do like the question. I think that I would rejam there all the time.
Yeah.
And this honestly goes into studying. You know, if I were to go back to playing a lot again, those would be the first things I would focus on, right? Jam and rejam spots in tournaments. You know, those short stack situations where you just want to make sure you know the math.
That's one of those things we've actually taken out is those push-up charts. They're not allowed to have them at the table. But, yeah, they come in handy in situations like this. And, you know, if you're really taking the game serious, you should just study those and learn them. You should not have to reference it. But it's one of those things we've taken away.
Or you should look
Here
into
we
someone's
go.
soul and decide whether they have it or not.
Correct.
No?
Easy enough.
You want to?
No, it's correct.
It's correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's
All
correct.
right.
All right, so De Vrijtes
Yeah.
getting a little out of line at 5-3 off. And because he just min-raised, only 600K to call from Memeche, who flops a gut shot straight draw. De Vrijtes, always quick to act, is going to just continue.
750.
Just 750K into 3 million. Small stab here. I'd love for Memeche to continue here and see a turn card. It's such a good price to try and hit a queen, hit a king. Even if you hit a 10, you're going to have short on value. Might go check on the turn if you do call. And here we go. We'll go see a turn card.
Does make the call. Yep.
Now, if the friends had sized up,
Oh, yeah,
this would have been a completely different scenario. Four spades on the turn. Complete blank here.
check.
And the Freitas does decide to check, giving Memeche a chance to see a free river card.
But now if Memeche goes small bet here, then De Vrijtes has something to call with as well.
Yeah, he has the open and the straight draw now, which is funny. You would almost prefer to fire again just because you pick up equity,
Right.
As opposed to your hand getting worse if, let's say, you know, a king hit or a queen hit, for example.
I'm worried about your health, sir. Really?
Can you?
Oh my God.
I'm all right.
He's all in.
Oh wow.
Really?
Oh.
Comes with the jam on the turn.
Oh my God.
That is very unhealthy.
Oh my God.
See, and now
It's like
if he had made a bet there,
okay,
then he
no.
might have had to call. But
Have
now he's facing this all-in shove with basically 5 high. So
Yeah. So we're going to see some posturing here, but
4.5 there.
ultimately the Freitas is going to have to
Hopefully.
surrender.
Yep. And he
Good
does.
move. Good move.
Memeche very combative, taking some risks, getting some shoves through, and he is up to 10 million.
And De Freitas is worried about his health. Congratulations to Nick Schulman, the newest member of the Poker Hall of Fame.
Okay, there we go. Congrats to Nick. I'm sure Twitter will be full of Nick Schulman stories.
I should have announced it earlier because
See, when they had
You already knew?
I announced it last year. I announced it like 2 hours early.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I was getting calls from Poker News and from Poker.org, and they're saying, "How did you know? How do you know? What? Who told you?" I said, "I just know that Antonio is getting in. I could have done the same thing this year. Damn it! Kind of blew an opportunity there. I knew it was going to be Nick, but just good. Nick's a great guy. You work with him often.
Yeah, phenomenal. Phenomenal person, phenomenal player, phenomenal commentator. Just puts me to shame in every category.
He's a decent golfer, too.
Of course he is.
Yeah, he's a decent golfer.
Before you know it, he's also an artist and a singer and
yeah, exactly.
great at painting.
One of the few people on earth that can put Ali Najad in his place on a day-to-day basis. All right, Memeche now calls. And Rzentkowski with Queen 8 suited.
Yeah,
1.8.
Stack dynamics have changed completely compared to like 2 orbits ago. Memeche and Rzentkowski now tied in chips for that second place. And I like that Rzentkowski is raising here from the big blind. You got a suited queen. You're going to be ahead against the range that Memeche has. And this way you can take control of the pot, and he does just pick it up here. Once again, welcome to the stream. Venetian Poker Live, Seniors Event Final Table. $1 million prize pool, 144K up top for the champion. My name is Remco Rinkema. Matt Savage alongside me in the booth because the World Poker Tour is here at Venetian. Day 1A of the main event underway today. 5K buy-in, $4 million guarantee. So if you're looking for a summer saver or just a way to make your summer even more successful, come on down to Venetian. Multiple starting flights. How many starting days?
3 starting flights. The last time to get in would be around 8 o'clock on Sunday. So get down here before then. Put a few bullets in this one because $4 million prize pool. I assume the prize pool will be somewhere over $5 million by the time it's all said and done. And you get your name on that Mike Sexton Champions Cup if you're not already there.
Rzentkowski doesn't want to just surrender here, but the Freitas finds a real hand.
All in.
And he's just going to jam. Make no qualms about it.
The pace of play has picked up since we've gone 3-handed. I'm not
That's
sure.
true. I don't know why.
I'm not quite sure why. The pace of play has definitely picked up. And Rzentkowski and Memeche just about even in chips.
Yeah, it makes it harder for them to play because you're sort of looking at the other. Like, hey, man, how about you just bust first? You know?
29,000 between first and second.
Yeah, it's a huge swing.
The Freitas now, King Jack suited. So now this is the hand, raise, shove. You can actually get away with calling with this hand, correct?
I believe so.
It's more now.
Now that both Memeche and
Last
Rzentkowski
time I
have
let you
17
hit
big
that
blinds on top.
9.
I'll be less likely to see
I
that.
have to make it a little bit.
You don't want to play against me?
No, I just
Too big, man.
I just have to charge the current price for my hand.
Price of poker going up here at the final table.
That's the other misconception that's always been
Correct,
taught about
right,
me is that I
for my
don't,
hand.
because I don't want people discussing or disclosing cards in their hands, that I don't like
Last
table
time
talk.
was
I
cheap.
love table talk. Let's get that clear.
I
To a
made-
point.
I made a mistake.
I see.
There's some people that have made a name for themselves this summer that maybe the table talk was a little bit too much.
Okay, where do you go?
Pretending like the 5 deuce
Beautiful.
was a
One
real
for me.
decision.
Yeah, sure.
I show you both,
Yeah.
and when I asked you, you show me. Next time I ask you show me.
Okay, deal.
All right.
Quick deal being made here.
King Jack. King Jack.
That's the type of hand you want to show. Like you don't want to.
Yeah. The funny thing
It's
is,
an obvious one.
him proposing that deal
Yes.
tells you all you need to know.
Exactly. That he had something legitimate.
So many.
And now he's got protection in the future.
Right, exactly. So many levels to the game of poker.
Freitas is not stopping there. He's going to raise the queen 6.
Yeah, there's just so much to pick up here. It's a 1.5 million every time you raise. 64 hands into this final table. The final 3 guaranteed $73,000.
And in the back of your mind, if you're not, a professional, you're thinking, well, he just did that with King Jack suited, so he must have something.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's getting double credit for showing his cards, but he didn't necessarily have to. And Rzentkowski is going to defend here. A pot that puts him as a short stack if he doesn't win it. And 3 clubs on the board, and Freitas with the pair and a flush draw. Rzentkowski also has a 7 of clubs in his hand.
Making sure we do have a club.
The look back.
And there comes the bet. If you're watching this at home, make sure to always look back at your cards because then even if you don't have it, it looks like you do. 1.3 million from the Freitas here. Rzentkowski with the 7 high club does have some backdoor straights going for him as well, but it's one of those things where you're also concerned with Mehmet's stack. You don't want to take unnecessary risks and miss out on a chance to get second at least. It's a whole new game. Once you get the heads-up play.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
All in announced. Rzentkowski comes with the jam on the monotone flop. I did not see this coming.
Wow. And Freitas has to call here, I think.
There is no way that he can fold. It's the pair and the flush draw. Wait, didn't he announce all in?
I thought he said all in.
Wait.
Whoa.
This says he made it 4 million. So I guess you and I both.
I thought I heard all in for sure.
Oh, well, I mean, if we didn't hear it then, we are hearing it now. All in shove on the turn. Rzentkowski, his final 4.4 million.
And he's drawing dead.
Drawing stone dead on the turn.
Game over.
We're going to have our 3rd place finisher, De Freitas, with the queen high flush, is going to take care of business as he is seemingly unstoppable at this final table. Wow. Rzentkowski slams those chips down with authority, and he'll be taking home $73,975 for
nice
his efforts.
2-day score.
Almost. Pretty close.
Wow. De Freitas with a monster chip lead going into heads-up play. 34 million to 8.4 million.
Mehmet was the shortest stack 5-handed. I think he was down to like 2 million.
And now
need to go
guaranteed
to toilet.
$100,000.
We have 3 minutes for the
Yes,
break.
yes.
I'm okay.
You speak, no, me speak.
Yeah, if you want
What's the table? Yes.
I think.
I need to go to toilet.
Yes, for the restroom.
Here's a look at the payouts. $102,000 guaranteed for the final 2 players are going to be heads up when we come back from this short break. The players will use the bathroom, get aligned, put the trophy on the table, and all that good stuff. My name is Rzentkowski. I'm Matt Savage alongside me in the booth. Please stick around. We're going to go on a short 15-minute break, and then heads-up action will commence. And the question will be, can Memeche make a comeback? We'll see you in a few.
Which is typically okay, or do you get a little excited early and you just force the action? What I was saying about Peter, though, if you think of all the hands that exist, ace deuce makes a straight, 6-7 makes a straight. There's all these equity flush draws. So when you have all these people in the pot, you got to be cautious that, you know, there's sets, there's straights, there's all these other hands. Even though you have 2 pair, it looks better than it is, really. Especially when you see a guy grabbing 150K in black chips. Brown chips, excuse me. Holy crap.
And Isaac moves all in. Oaken with the snap fold. And Peter makes the call. We have 362,000 in the middle, running it twice. Peter looking for a 4 or a 5. And the 5 of diamonds has been folded.
6-7 with the diamonds redraw.
Isaac
so rough.
In a crazy good spot.
Wow. You had hearts?
King 10 hearts.
Running it twice.
And I think that's a spot where Peter just needs to think a little bit more.
We beat the record of biggest pot in Venetian Poker Live history.
Let's go.
By over 100,000.
Let's go.
Matt Berkey, move over. We got a new captain in town here.
It's not over, though.
It could be chopped. Okay, fair. I'll give you that. 259 was the previous biggest pot, Wasserson versus Berkey. Right now, running it twice. First one.
Oh my God! I thought that was 4 of clubs for a second.
First one goes to Isaac. He now on a free roll. River card. Queen of clubs. It's a scoop. Isaac wins the biggest pot in Venetian Poker Live history. $362,000. What a crazy, crazy hand.
0.2?
At that point, if you're still in the Squid Game, you might as well start shoving because you got to win one eventually.
And it's heads up between Boots and Nick right now?
Yeah, I did announce it actually.
Yes, you did. Okay, good. It's
and Nick here trying to get out of the Squid Game by making it 5,200 with 6 deuce suited.
We do appreciate when they do.
6-3 for Boots gets out of the way.
I'll try and defend you, bro. I'll try and defend you.
JRB comes
we need
along
you
with
to
ace-10.
root for 7 of clubs.
Ooh, got it.
Oh, Nick's on a mission for this one.
Ace-10-3. This might be costly if Nick tries to really fight for this one.
Well, I think he's going to. He's got one of those types of boards that, as the person who put in $5,200, is going to want to represent.
Well, maybe the 4 of diamonds would be a nice card.
No problem.
I'll take any diamond.
Instead, we get a deuce, so Nick does pair up. Action goes check. 5 of spades on the river. Let's see if JRB wants to stay tricky here, knowing that Nick wants to win his way out of the Squid Game. But instead, JRB is going to come out swinging. Donnie, would you have liked to see him check here? Nick has to bluff if he...
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking of, is that you just can really let Nick hang himself here. I know he did check back on the turn, so maybe that's telling JRB, this guy's slowing down a little bit. But, you know, I think you can just really let him bomb the river. Is he going to call?
Oh, wow.
He calls.
Nick Salem with the hero call, and JRB gets a ton of value, and Boots will be happy with this because the Squid Game is still on.
Clubs was better than the 7 of clubs, all right? I protected you.
That was a big one for JRB.
He's loosened up a little bit.
28.
And he's going to try and punish here from the straddle. Nick will go see a flop. Rampage gets out of the way. Welcome to Joe Ingram in the chat. Good to have you with us. He says, road to 5K subs is heating up. A little closer every day. But we won't be happy with 5K. We want 10K.
When's Joey going to be in the game?
Yeah. Get on the phone with JRB. I heard Joey is now a 2-card specialist.
That's what I mean, right?
He has
can get in there.
He has forsaken his old love.
Yeah. Well, you made a pair now, Nick. I mean,
a pair
Can't fold.
A pair is good enough. I'm sort of surprised at Oaken on numerous occasions now, checking flop as the initial raiser and then betting the turn on what has looked like an inconspicuous card.
yeah, I mean, I think he's... I mean, I think he should just be betting flops like this, right? But I also think that maybe he's thinking, well, in a way, kind of like see where I'm at. Like, I'll just check, and if he checks back, then I have, you know, I can just fire. Oh,
Wow.
snap call.
Oaken bets 17,600, and Nick snaps him off with 8-5.
What the fuck happened to this thing? What the fuck did I just miss?
You see the confidence I called him with?
I never seen you throw one chip.
Look at this.
You see the
Welcome to the Nick Salem Show, ladies and gentlemen. And Boots here, trying to evacuate himself from the Squid Game. Makes it 3,000.
Oh, here comes
And
Nick.
oh, Nick with the big stack. He's going to make it 10K. Music to the... Oh, and Rampage finds 9s. Sound the alarms. We might have a massive clash on our hands. And all-in announced for 27,800. Action back to Boots. Double check the cards. He's also going to move all in.
I have a
Twice.
Yeah, sure. You're out?
Ace 10, motherfucker.
Nick Salem out of the way, folding ace 10.
10.
Rampage will be happy to hear that because it's going to be 9s against ace king. 66,000 in the middle.
He got me anyways. I couldn't play with Bullet.
I had 10 8 suited though.
Big one here.
I would love.
First board
no matter what.
is for the Squid Game. Here comes the flop. Jack 4, 8. You can see the outs on the screen there. 2 aces have already been folded.
First what?
Turn card. Jack of spades.
Now hard.
Still looking safe. Rivers the 5 of diamonds, and Rampage gets the first one, and that means that Boots again, the loser of the Squid Game.
Hola, Chanchi. Buenas noches.
King, 9, 5, a set for Rampage. Boots looking for runner. It's not there, and Rampage winning 2 showdowns here with pocket 9s, and he's up to 66,000.
This night for Boots has been
Oh,
something.
it's unreal.
It's unbelievable. Currently only 3 winners at the table. Nick Salem, Rampage is slightly up, but up, and JRB. Three ways here, Jack 7, 4. Top pair for JRB. Oaken's got a gutter.
JRB's going to raise it up to 8,000. Yep, of course. Ogun's going to come along and make the call. Building a real...
Now we're playing the game,
Man,
boys.
if a 9 comes, oh.
6 of spades on the turn. JRB has to continue firing.
Why did he check?
Yeah, why would you give Brian Oaken a free card who could be in there for just about anything? You got to charge him.
Oken possibly thinking about betting here with the double gutter, but checks back.
Oh, it does
There
come in.
It is.
And JRB again with the check. Brian Oken with a well-disguised straight on the river, 20,000 in the middle. I would not be surprised to see a very sizable bet here. Are we going to see the bobblehead?
Overbet maybe?
Yep.
There we go.
27,000 is the bet.
I'm gonna get rid of this ugly shit anyways.
I'll take it.
JRB losing a huge one. 74,000 going to Brian Oken.
Now they're expert. You
This
got
could
no
be trouble
chance.
right
If you
here. Look,
start to deliver
Nick
your hand,
flats
that
with
shit
the
is gone.
aces.
Oh.
They should.
Oh, baby.
And David Williams makes it 7,000 on the button. Nick Salem is just in full control here. This is a different Nick Salem than we saw 2 weeks ago.
I really wish I had my squid button.
7.
Oh, we went from margarita to wine. White wine.
Maybe
Maybe
he's getting ready for the dinner. You know?
maybe some red after
Don't get
dinner.
the squid and tip with the other 100. This
He
is
must have ordered
amazing.
seafood. Oh, he's going to come back over the top.
Truly incredible. Can't make that up.
21,400.
Not messing around. 21,400.
I'm all in.
Oh! David Williams with the misstep.
Oh my gosh!
He runs into aces. Nick Salem.
Squid button.
First board gets it.
Oh
First
my
board gets
God.
it.
They're in for 100,000 each.
You're going twice.
What happens to
150,000 in the middle.
I like that.
This is the hand of the night.
2 times.
Better call up my backup player.
You want them to flip over their hand?
I'm not flipping over, so I don't care what they say.
They want you to reveal your hand.
I'm not.
Yeah, they won't
I'm not
do it.
turning
Go
my
ahead.
hand over. So
Okay, just tell me.
Now he's
They're
protesting.
not rolling the hands
Put it
over.
out.
Go ahead, deal.
let's go.
Oh man.
All right. Running it
anyways,
twice.
You put it on the camera. Anyways,
First
right?
one
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
Squid Game. Aces versus ace 9. 7-6-3. Runner straight still out there. David Williams in a world of hurt right now.
Williams got in with the 8-4. He's like, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. I wish I had 8-4 right now. I have a shot. I could hit a 5.
Oh, yeah, ace queen.
First one's going to go to Nick
Ace
Salem.
Ace. Yeah. Nice hand.
Second
2
board.
boards, right?
Yeah. Split it back.
Second board hoping to save David Williams. We have an absolute monster pot on our hands during a round of Squid Game. David Williams thought Nick Salem was messing around, and he got caught
Nick, you can't have liked
with
see
his
the king,
hand in the
king run out.
proverbial cookie jar.
I didn't like it?
You can't have liked that. King run out.
Yeah, horrible.
Because I don't want to turn over ace king.
Yeah.
Jack 8-8
he
once
said he
again
saw that. I
looking
mean-
for back doors here, and that is it. David Williams
I mean,
tosses
from
him
his
into the
comments,
mug.
Yeah, okay.
Nick Salem wins the biggest pot of the night. Absolute monster pot.
But in the grand
It's a new-
scheme of
trying-
things, that's
crafting a
not
new
that
identity.
long, and he's really risen to the top. You know, he plays the biggest cash games. He'll fire the biggest tourneys. You
And
know,
he's been successful.
Yeah, and in terms of like popularity, getting invites to stream games like this one, you know, being a name that draws audience members in, all that sort of stuff. Like
How many times
Mike
a week
is up
you get
there.
stopped to take a picture?
And look at this.
What are we doing here?
Straddle,
Buddy,
ace
it's
queen.
like we just talked about.
Re-raise,
fucking
king
time.
10, jacks,
in a small
16
game.
k.
All the time,
JRB's
yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
I didn't limp here. We're flipping again.
JRB
really
kicks
excited
it up
like
to
it's not big of a
40.
deal.
Andrew's going to go all in.
Cool.
What do you have?
Ace queen.
It's probably.
And here we go, another six-figure pot up for grabs. It's a flip. JRB, ace, queen, O, against the 2 red jacks for Andrew, which he had the 2 red jacks before, right?
Yeah, he did. Against aces. Luckily, he's just 50 or 60-40 almost, but he's pouting. What's the pout face
Is
mean?
that some foreshadowing with the
Jacks, everything
the sad
else.
face
I
already?
mean, buddy, look, you got aces and now you got queens. I mean, you know.
Jacks.
I mean,
jacks.
you peel off right away.
Ace 3 deuce.
That's so sad.
Good for JRB. King on the turn, needs to fade a jack here.
No
And
way.
he does.
You hate losing the first one when you're running it twice, Donnie. You just hate it. It's a pit of your stomach. Like, am I going to lose both?
That's just
Another
retarded.
ace. Followed by 2 6s.
I'm going home.
Queen on the turn. And a
That's it
4
for me,
on the
guys.
river. You know, there's certainly a...
It might just end up being a bigger game because instead of someone calling 200, they have to call 1200. So it's pretty interesting. And look at this. JRB with the worst hand, like he naturally does, bets into the field. And yeah, let's see how this works out.
Top and bottom for Wasserson. He makes the call.
Hot in here.
Everyone with a little piece here, Donnie.
Hard to listen
Ace
to
is going to
somebody
make it
complain about
10K.
hot,
Ace has been
freaking
very, very
frustrating.
quiet as of late, so pouncing here a little bit.
And notice Was trapping the flop with top and bottom pair. You know, naturally you just call to keep your opponent's bluffs in here, but Ace is like maybe not that kind of player to be bluffing that often. So let's see what Was does.
Comes with a call.
And let's see, does Ace have plans to
JRB,
blast
how
away
many
at this?
days a week do you play in here?
This summer we're going to play.
Probably 5 days a week.
Now this is actually a
Every
great
day we
turn
get a
card.
chance to
Obviously he picks up some equity to win with a jack now,
And
but
business
he
is
blocks
good,
all the
you know.
2 pairs.
Everybody
He
wants to
blocks
play.
the ace jack, the queen jack.
I mean, really, we could do
Now
two
obviously
tables,
Was
probably,
beats
but
queen
we're
jack,
just gonna
but
run one table.
ace jack is really the hand that Ace can represent here. And you know, look, Was is feeling uneasy already. You
World Series?
Yeah.
can see in the disgust in his
Played
face
twice?
right
He
there.
had cash series.
But he doesn't care, Donnie. He piles it in.
There we go.
He's going to play all the tournaments.
And it's
Are
not
you
going to
gonna
be
play any
that much more. It's basically...
Welcome back to Venetian Poker Live. We are heads up in the seniors event. A $42,000 pay difference between first and second as we have a monster chip leader vying for the title. Daniel De Freitas from Sao Paulo, Brazil, going heads up against Simone Mameche with the short stack. Question is, can he mount a comeback? And if he does, it's going to take quite a bit here because De Freitas seemingly unable to lose a pot in the last hour or so. My name is Rzentkowski. Matt Savage still alongside me as we are trying to generate some awareness for the upcoming World Poker Tour. So
good-looking trophy there.
Yeah, got the trophy here and all in on the first hand, and Mameche gets it through. One more time, Matt, for those who are just tuning in or tuning in for the first time, what do you guys have going on here at Venetian this week?
This week we have a day 1A, B, and C of
I give
the
you $100,
WPT
remember?
Venetian Championship
Oh, you
event. It is a
When I-
$5,000
Yeah,
buy-in
with
a
Yes,
$4 million
yeah,
guarantee.
okay. Yeah.
And
Deal
registration
is a
and
deal.
re-entry is open
If I don't
until
ask you today, we can
8 o'clock
do it
on
next,
Sunday.
next
So
week.
that'd
when I
be day
show?
1C, last chance to register. So if you're still in town and you've got some extra cash in your pocket, and you'd like a lot more, come on down to the Venetian. Get your name on that Mike
Is
Sexton
my big
Champions
blind,
Cup.
I don't see my card, huh? Okay.
It's going to be a great event.
Okay, is my big blind, okay.
Yes.
Venetian's been a long-standing, great poker room, and if you haven't been to the new one, which we're in now, it is amazing. And this Poker Go Studio Venetian Poker Live is an amazing set, and you could tell it's beautiful. They've done a fantastic job. 6-3 versus 5-4 here with two pair and a flop straight
Wow.
for De Freitas.
What a hand.
Oh my
1.8 million in the middle. And Mameche,
check.
Both players trapping here. King on the turn. How does this not end up in the middle? This is a trap versus a trap, two pair versus a straight. When you flop two pair, heads up, you're never going to think that your opponent has you beat. As Mameche, a little fumble on the chips there, but he is going to make a bet on the turn. It was limped pre-flop, check on the flop. And now 1.6 million. Oh, here comes the table talk. Asking whether he's on a draw.
Heads up, you can disclose the contents of your hands and actually show your cards. You are allowed to do that. New chips in play here. Are those millions? What are those chips?
I want to assume that they are.
Maybe they're 500Ks.
Well, whatever they are, they're going to end up in the middle there somehow.
Right.
De Freitas doing his very best to look weak. He's got all options open to him, but he wants to keep his customer. And he is going to charge a little more here.
3.9.
Yeah, 3.9.
Makes it 3.9 million.
3 million and 900.
So those are 500K chips.
We'll call those lime green 500K chips.
Now,
Lines it up next time.
the fun part here is that Mameche is posturing to look
I'm all
weak.
He's all in.
And he moves all in, and the snap call follows.
You're nuts?
Yeah.
I two pair.
Oh
Two
my
pair
goodness.
versus a straight. What an ungodly cooler here at the final table.
Listen.
The second hand of heads-up play, Mameche had a mountain to climb and thought that this might be the ticket
3 and 6.
to start on the comeback.
Sometimes happen. Sometimes happen.
Alexander. My son, his name is Alexander.
All in good
Go.
fun here between the two. They
Good name.
look as though they've
I think it could
already
be
secured a
9.
friendship for life
Had 9.
going through this event together.
9 of
But
hearts
now
and
the river
9 of
card.
diamonds.
Potentially ending this thing right here, and it is the 10 of spades.
Nice
And
play,
Daniel
good
De
serve.
Freitas from
Good
Sao
game.
Paulo,
Thank you.
Brazil, is our seniors event champion, taking home the top prize of $144,820. Shout out as well to Simone Moneche, taking home $102,771. So
What a flop.
massive payout for both players, but the trophy will go home to Brazil.
I agree.
What a final table this was as we look at the final standings. We lost Tanimoto on hand number 2. Orly followed soon after that. And then Chuck Ward busted. John Phan the Razor had his moment in the sun, but an ace on the river ended his dreams versus De Freitas, who then took control of this final table and never looked back. On behalf of Matt Savage and the entire crew here at Venetian Poker Live, I want to thank you all so much for watching. My name is Remco Rinkema, and as you can see on the screen here, the celebrity cash game of the World Poker Tour, hosted here as well on the Venetian Poker Live channel, is our next stream on July 14. And there it is, as a true champion, hoisting up the trophy. Shout out to Atletico Mineiro. Shout out to Daniel De Freitas. Shout out to Brazil. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope to have you back on July 14th. Until then, good luck at the tables, and make sure we see you again soon. Thank you, and good night.